Whoa, crazy. Whoa. Whoa.
Munch.
Whoa.
A
And
little
we're
cold.
live. Crazy. Whoa. No wait time. What? What's going on? I want us to get through this as fast as possible. That is currently
Well,
what's
that's
going
crazy.
on.
We're going right in.
We're going right in, baby.
It might be my fault. It's the funniest screenshot of the week.
It's so good, dude.
But
We'll get into it pretty quickly, but let's send out stream link quick.
I like the fucking watched.
Again, I told you
The
this
episode-
is gonna be a scuffed week on some slight things because I want us to get through this without having to wait for me to open every single one of my files.
I know.
And edit a singular number across all of them, which also means I will once again change the thumbnail's going to be wrong this week for a while.
You need to use the same text file, so that way you can just click the image and then it'll switch across all the scenes.
That's not the problem, because I do that. The thing is, I would have to open all of those files in my editor to edit the PNG and save over it.
Mm-hmm.
Which would extend our waiting period another 15 minutes, which I don't want to do. Season 2, I can't. Week 2.
Anyway, bring it up here real quick.
I watched all of Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Oh, nice, great.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
So there's a big thing I did, but I'll save that. I'll try to see if I did anything else first.
Just don't worry about anything.
And finished Dying Light 2 again, but that's whatever. Yeah, I feel like I did a lot of things, but my brain can only think of one thing that I did. But like, my brain wants to be like, oh, but I did other things.
Mm-hmm.
That big thing is that I started playing Final Fantasy 14.
Let's fucking go.
Greatest game ever made, maybe.
Which way is it flipped for me? It's flipped, so this would be better, right?
Yeah, something like that.
That might be a W. Who knows?
It is. That game is incredible.
It's certainly a W for Mason.
It is. It's legitimately, once you get past the first bit of the game, it's one of the best stories I've ever seen in video games.
I mean, it certainly is an MMO, which means the first decent chunk of time is the level grinding. Oh, and he goes.
I mean, I will say it doesn't even really feel like grinding per se. Like the first little bit of it, yeah.
It is certainly me just walking from place to place doing mindless chores as quests for people. It's
yeah.
what it currently is. I assume once you hit like the raids and dungeons, then the game starts to get fun. It's just I haven't gotten to those yet. So
Yeah.
certainly in the I also picked the worst starting class to start a game off with. Yippee! I wanted to play healer. And if you want to get white mage, you have to start conjurer.
So
you don't like have to, but you can. It's like annoying.
I will say, like, the nice thing about healers in that game is that they're also a DPS.
They just don't DPS as good.
Yeah, like the thing about that game is like it's a bit different from other MMOs where it's not like you are a dedicated tank, you are a dedicated DPS.
Yeah, it's not like World of Warcraft where you only do one thing.
No, it's like in this game, everyone is a DPS, and then also tanks can tank hits better, and healers are there to make sure the tanks don't die.
Yeah, tanks' big thing is that they can pull aggro. Like, they have specific skills to be like, and I taunt everything.
Yes.
And DPS just are goofy little Oz that just run around doing a billion damage to everything.
Yeah. DPS are interesting in that they have like 60 buttons, and they use about 45 of them.
Yeah, I have to use a whole, like, 3 of mine currently.
Yeah.
4 if I want to put things to sleep.
True.
My brain couldn't do that.
It's honestly not as bad as you would think, but fair.
It's essentially you're like looping like different sets of like 8 of them in a row, and it's like, oh, in this specific instance, I need to use this set of them because it's like this type of boss phase, where I have like slightly less time to do my damage.
It's not as bad as the worst one in it is Summoner, because Summoner changes literally every expansion because they can't figure out how to get it right. So in Shadowbringers, Summoner was do your base combo, do your Dreadworm combo, do your Bahamut combo, do your Phoenix combo, do your regular combo. Now it's pick a Lego color, do your regular combo, pick another Lego color, do your regular combo, pick the last one. I wish I were joking, but it's the actual truth. Summoner's weird.
Mason,
really
I can get my combos right in fucking League of Legends, and they have 4 buttons.
You do have 4 buttons.
True, but
6 if you can't summon or spell.
But also, it's different, I feel. It's also like the exact same over and over again. With slight variations.
I'm gonna do us all a favor. No more 14.
Yeah,
we will be here all night, not for the reason
I was actually
supposed to
pretty
be.
well done, so.
Yeah. I've been working. That's that. I come home and like I either put something on and just watch it, or like I screw around on either Pokemon or Fire Emblem. Neither of the new games of either franchise. Nothing really new on my end. Have not been watching stuff, have not been keeping up with manga. Hopefully starts to change soonish. I have been playing D&D weekly, not with my one group, because whoops, I need to figure out how to make that D&D group work with my schedule. I don't know if it's possible. We're gonna find out. The other one's playing consistently because we can play Thursdays, which is one of my days off. But yeah, working 1 to 10 kind of kills a social life slightly, just slightly.
Just a little bit.
Just a little
Maybe.
bit. Yeah, if you're wondering why we missed, why we're technically like a week behind now, Tomo-chan screenshot, but me. Also, there was a thing this weekend that would have prevented any of us from probably doing anything. At least I imagine probably John was busy with it.
Yesterday?
A certain
Yes,
game. No,
What?
I meant Sunday.
What was Sunday?
But okay, a certain game.
Yeah, a certain game for a certain thing.
sporting
There was a
event
certain big event.
Yeah.
It was like some birds and some guys
Yeah.
tossing
Yeah.
around an egg.
Yeah.
Oh, I worked on Sunday. I didn't watch this shit.
Oh, that same. Same.
I mean, I also just stayed home and played.
Look,
I
didn't
figured
know
you
Philadelphia was on fire. For
It was gonna be on
That
fire
wouldn't
either
happen
way.
anyway.
So
It was-
much.
yeah. Correct.
On Sunday, I literally watched the Star Spangled Banner at my house. I left for work, and then I watched the game-winning field goal. That's all the time I had to watch the game on Sunday.
All I caught was the last play of the game. What I will say, about that is that I forgot where the thought in my head was going, so I won't. I simply won't. It's been time. Anyone else have things they want to talk about, of which they've done? I know you watched a movie, John. I know you've expressed Kaguya good.
So I worked a lot this week. But kept up with Kaguya in the movie. It was good, very cute. It only aired yesterday and today, I think. At like one theater, which is like an hour away, but we went anyways.
Tacos.
Had dinner yesterday. It was nice. My girlfriend made me these like chocolate covered like strawberries and stuff, and a bunch of other stuff in my freezer. Very cute. So we did that. Kaguya was good. It covers the whole Ice Kaguya arc. It's very cute. It felt like just you're watching Kaguya basically, like 3 episodes of Kaguya. It was a good time. Had the haha funnies, had the cute moments. But yeah. Been playing Fire Emblem. That's fun. Fire Emblem, good time.
I heard the plot is not the greatest, but the gameplay's really good.
I mean, who cares if it's not the greatest? It's the game. The gameplay's all you're playing it for. Let's be honest.
Yeah, fair.
You're playing it because you want strategy game. Go burr. Keeping Up with Chainsaw Man, read that. Chainsaw Man
Well,
good.
I did read that. Chainsaw Man good.
Chainsaw Man good. Kept Up with Oshinoko. Didn't have a chapter this week, but last week was good.
I'm so behind in ONK because
I am
it's
too.
not on Viz, so I just forget to read it.
I'm the least not behind, but still behind.
Wait,
I
on your
just
phone,
forget
you mean?
because
Not counting you, John. Obviously, I'm
Okay,
the least
here's
not
the pro
behind.
tip. Get the Manga Plus app on your phone, and it's on there.
See,
I don't use my phone. I use
see,
Viz.com on my
also,
computer.
see, also here,
There's the chainsaw.
here a problem. Phone space. My phone in particular, I have a major issue with that. That I'm literally, what I have app-wise, I have app-wise. So no. But yeah. Mason, have you been up to anything?
Like I said, I watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Right. I forgot we were live.
I think I did this before last podcast, but I watched Mob Psycho season 3. I probably said that. Like
Yes,
3
I
weeks
think you
ago,
did.
to
You
be
did.
honest.
No, I think you mentioned it last week.
Yeah. I've watched people play Hogwarts Legacy. I have not bought that game for myself because I respect trans people.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of people play it. I don't want to buy it. It doesn't look like a game for me. I have zero connection to the IP. Like, I don't care. Also, the game just looks like they took the Hogwarts world and combined 15 like super generic RPGs into one blob of a game and forgot what makes any of those parts of those games good. My favorite thing is that why the fuck Harry Potter game have dodge roll?
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Burr.
Because Dark Souls.
Yes.
That's it. That's a reason.
It
It's really also buggy as shit, and that's really funny. You just clip out of walls randomly.
Good.
Yes. Aside from that, I made a bad decision and let my friend convince me to start playing WoW Classic.
Oh boy.
So I've been playing a little bit of that. I played like a solid 4-5 days for like a solid like 4 hours at a time. I'm level 13. That game is a grind. I'm barely out of the first area, and I forgot. Man, I did this for fun back when I was like 12.
I did one other thing.
Oh yeah.
I signed up for my first ever Pokemon VGC regional.
I did see
going-
your tweet about that.
yeah.
That'll be fun. I'm ready to go 010 in Swiss. It's gonna be pretty hype.
Okay, curious question about that
Starting to
part
feel
of the
more
tweet. Can you
Yeah.
drop in a VGC tournament?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so you would just go 011 because you felt like it. I was gonna say no one actually ever sticks that long in a tournament. I'm used to seeing tournament runs in relation to card games, in which case I know if you're like 0-3, your chance of making it to the next stage is nothing. Like if at any point you hit 3 losses in most types of card game tournaments, you're not making it out of Swiss.
Yeah.
So most people.
That's the same thing with VGC. It's
They
just
finally-
I'm just
finally
saying I
changed it in
don't know how the
VGC.
VGC. I don't know how VGC works. Is what I'm
VGC is
explaining.
changing it now, where it's like there's gonna be a day 1 and a day 2 Swiss, followed by a championship on day 2.
Oh, fun!
And so day 1 will be like, I think like 9 rounds of Swiss, and then day 2 will be like another 5 or 6, and then championship, and then top 8. And so it's like top 32 makes out of Swiss, and then top 8 make it from second Swiss into bracket. And it's all best of 3s. So you're playing 9 best of 3s, or at least maximum 27 games, minimum 18 games of Pokemon over the course of one day. And then you have to go do it again the next day. For example, for Orlando, they had 10 rounds of Swiss that ran from 8 in the morning until just after 11 is when it finished, and they had to report back at 7 a.m. for top cut.
Yeah.
A friendly reminder too. I think it was 13 players went 8-2 and didn't make top cut for 16.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, that's
because
that
of like
happens a lot.
because of how the weighted works.
Yep.
Like, my luck is I would go 7-0 and then lose 3 in a row and then not make top cut by like resistance. That'd be my luck.
I've commentated a Magic tournament where we started at 9 in the morning and I had to leave at about 9 and they were still going at 1.
Yep.
So.
But
tournament scheduling.
But outside of that, yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be a good time. I'm starting to sell on some things I like in Pokemon, which is nice to say. Some Mons I'm really enjoying. Garganacl, he's goated. I like Roaring Moon. Is one of my favorite Paradox Mons. And in fact, the only one I currently have on the team I'm using for a bit here. And then I have like a Mimikyu and like Mousehold.
John, if you talk about it, people are going to be able to figure out what your team is, and they're going
That's great. It's going to change in the
about you
next
on
month.
the pot from watching our podcast. That's
I
so
guarantee in a month-
popular.
That's crazy because you can also just like look at team sheets because it's open team sheet format.
Woo! Hey guys, did you know we're an anime podcast?
That's true.
And that
No.
particularly this week we've watched episode 4 of our 11 shows, and we have opinions this week. Apparently, is where we lie. This
we always
is my
have opinions.
segue into power ranking.
Sean,
I didn't bold. I
yes.
forgot to
No
bold this week.
bolds?
I forgot to
No
bold. I
bolds.
forgot to
Oh.
bold. Give me a minute.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
I'm
was
not
like, there's
gonna.
no way. I was
Here,
like, do we
let
have
me-
no bolds?
let's
That's
do-
crazy.
Let's do math real quick. No, I'll bold it later, and I'll send you a bolded update. To know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are a couple of things that are certainly choices. A certain someone not having Tomo in top 3 makes me a little angry. But it that's actually not the part that upsets me. There's a different element of it that upsets me, and I'm interested to hear why. We all have some varying opinions about some shows.
Sean upsets me the most of any take on here.
What, my 5?
Yes.
I'll talk about it. There is reason behind it. I guess my question for you, Michael, would be is which show do you think I should have below it?
Tomo-chan
Because I like all of those shows.
and
Well,
Including my
I think High
5.
Card I think High Card should not be above it.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about why why it is for me. Yeah, there's lots of points. There are a couple of shows that I think are really interesting about their placements this week. And also some things that are pretty consistent. But let's roll into it. It's Tomo-chan. Hi. Spoilers, harsh language about to come. Please don't talk and chat about past episodes we have not watched. We're on episode 4 of things. Again, I'm going to be really loose with stuff today in terms of structure, because I just want to not keep us here for 3 hours. Tomo-chan. This episode is 3 episodes, because 4-koma format, it runs through three kind of central bits of the episode. It just covers 3 different topics. Boy, I know what they are, but I have to get them in, I think, in the right order. I know what the last one is. I'm trying to remember between the first and second one which one comes first in the episode.
The first one I think is about smiling. I guess
I
the
watched
bit I
this, like,
remember.
a week
Yes,
and a half
it
ago,
is.
so I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
is.
Gundo's
It
inability.
is the Gundo smile bit is the first part of the episode. You are correct. So, friend, I do not actually remember the dude's name. He is not an important enough character for me to recall his name. But orange-haired guy, who has the biggest crush on Gundo, is talking about how much he wants to see her smile. At which point everyone considers different elements as to what they consider her smiling is. He then tries to tell her bad jokes and she slaps tape over his mouth. At which point, Carol passes him in the hallway and turns, and you just see she also has tape slapped over her mouth. And then Tomo runs into her and takes the tape off and goes, "What happened?" She goes, "Gundo." And Tomo's like, "What did you do?" And she was like, "I didn't say." Well, no, she goes, "What did you say?" She goes, "I didn't say anything. I just tried to give her a kiss on the cheek." And she goes, "Ah, you got off easy."
That was your mistake.
And then we get into the second part of the episode, which is Tomo wanting to act more girly with other girls, and people in general, and do like nice, friendly, like personal, like physical contact greetings. To which point she starts to test this with Carol, and they run this bit for a while, and then Gundo gets mad, and Tomo's like, "I don't know." Tomo's like, "Yeah, she's upset." And Carol goes, "How can you tell?" And she goes, "Oh, you see, her face is slightly different." I promise, it is.
It was slightly different.
It is slightly different. It is.
It was.
And
Her
then
eyes
Tomo.
are like flatter when she's
Yeah.
mad versus bit more rounded.
then Tomo's like, I don't know what happened. I don't think I did or said anything, but she started acting like this when you and I started hugging more, and and Carol just thinks and goes, oh, I've cracked the case, and she goes to Gundo and she's like, hey, I'm sorry, and Gundo goes, no, you don't need to apologize. Only, yeah, this is a dumb, silly, stupid thing that has nothing to actually do with you. You're not at fault in a weird way. And Carol's like, I see. Well, only a child would stay upset about this and not say anything, and then walks. And Gundo's like, you're right, of course. And then she goes and talks to Tomo and is like, hey, sorry for being mad. You didn't do anything. And then she's like, but we could try the being close thing. And then Tomo almost strangles her. Very good. Everybody loves Tomo. That's another part of this element. I remember Mason watched this episode and sent me a message that said yes, Tomo's by awakening. Because yes, she cannot physically be close to any woman because they cannot handle her. And she cannot hug Carol because Carol. She is simply not human. And then the last part of this episode is we get to meet Tomo's mom and see more of her dad. And we find out that her dad passes out in physical proximity too close to her mother. It's wonderful. They're both great.
I love her parents.
Tomo also makes sardine rice balls for Jun, and he eats them with no complaints. They're good for his jaw and the rest of his body too. And then our two girlfriends come up to Tomo and are like, "Hey, we have a problem. I went to a mixer, and this third year wants me to like be his girlfriend, but he's a player, and I don't want anything to do with him. But if you say no to him, he like ruins your whole social life." And Tomo's like, "Okay, so you want me to beat him up?" And they go, "No, but we do want you." I really enjoyed this bit, to stand behind me as I tell him. To which they cut to the confrontation scene where they are cowering behind Tomo, which is the right choice. And the guy's a real asshole about it, so Tomo kicks him into a wall, and then he goes and gets his 4 goons together and are like, "Okay, I know her name. We're gonna go kick the shit out of this Aizawa chick and teach her a lesson." And Jun goes, "Oh, what?" And then Brennan promptly kicks the shit out of them so hard they come and apologize to Tomo, and she goes, "What happened?"
Like, I know that one.
I don't understand what happened. By the way, why are you beat up? I can't comprehend. I like this episode. I think it's really good. Carol continues to be an absolute joy and treat of character. There is a dynamic to Jun, Tomo, and Gundo's relationship that I think this episode kind of starts to show that I really enjoy. Which is that there's a unique balance between relationship and friendship, and that like giving and take, like this is kind of a thing is hinted at before this episode, but it is maybe a little clearer here, which is that if Gundo does get Tomo and Jun together because she's Tomo's and Jun's friends, then like she might lose out on time with her actual friend, like the one person she really spends time with. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. There's also the bit with Carol and her boyfriend, where I forget when this happens in the episode. It might be during the Gundo smile bit. Where no, it's later. Oh God.
It's later.
Is it? I think it's before the gang boss guy, but after they're at Tomo's house. It's somewhere in here. Carol gives Tomo her headband, and then they force her to have lunch alone with Jun, which goes just fine for Jun, but embarrasses Tomo beyond belief. And in the meantime, Carol wants to show Gundo that she has a problem with her relationship, to which her boyfriend, the head of the boys' karate club, comes up and is like, "Oh, please take care of Carol. She's like a little sister to me." And then brushes crumbs off her chest like it's nothing, and completely leaves. And Carol goes, "See, I have a similar issue to Tomo." And Gundo's like, "In a way, yes. This is so bizarre. To fix this, you need to actually take life seriously." And she goes, "Okay." And then she takes her headband back later and fucking It doesn't.
Dun, dun,
It doesn't
dun,
make
dun,
me
dun, 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 dun.
This bit
It's
killed me. It's very good. It's back home.
Back home. Here, we'll show you
No,
the
I
bit
just
of
think
it.
this show's an absolute joy and a treat, and I enjoy its characters, and that's all I have to say about it.
What's that?
Yeah, it's a good show. It's funny.
Here it is.
Yeah, no, it's just really fun. These characters are always great to watch. I like the idea, the nod or it again. This isn't confirmed, but I assume it's essentially confirmed at the end with the Oh, you were always so clumsy in middle school too. Is that this is not the first time June has done this. This is in fact a common occurrence of him beating up bullies that are going to do something to Tomo, and I think
As he
that's
should.
adorable.
As he should.
I mean, it builds into the thing from episode 3 where Jun talks to I'm so upset I don't know his name off the top of my head, but the senpai in the karate club, Misaki, where they have the conversation on the train, and Jun's like, yeah, with regulated rules, I would never beat her, which is kind of the case for a lot of like it's similar situation with like guys and people at school who might have a problem. In a one-on-one fair fight, they would almost certainly lose. In a 5-on-1 brawl, taken by surprise, no matter how strong she is, there might be a difference there. And June won't allow a situation like that to happen. And I think it's another layer to that in this episode where it builds off that. Where it's like, yeah, he's not doing it because he thinks Tomo's weak or can't protect herself. He's doing it because 5-on-1's not exactly a fair fight. And if he teaches them a lesson ahead of time, they won't have to worry about it. Anything else on Tomo?
I thought Tomo was pretty good this week. I
I'll-
probably should have it higher.
I have a question for you, but I'll save it for when we get to the other show.
Oh, okay.
Because I want you to explain why it's higher than Tomo.
It really shouldn't be. I just watched
Okay.
it more recently. I watched it longer ago, and I was like, I remember that episode being cute. Is all I remembered about it because I watched it like at the beginning of last week when I was
Okay.
hanging out with somebody.
That's
so,
acceptable.
I watched Tomo last night / this morning at some point. I thought Tomo was all right this week. I think overall as a show, I've enjoyed High Card more, and that's higher
That's fine.
still than
I don't
Tomo.
care.
But
They're both my show. I don't care which one you have higher.
I think Tomo's it's interesting because it's like, I like its bits, but I don't like its like main overarching bit as much. Which again, they didn't do much this episode, I guess, but I don't know. It probably should be at least at 5, but
Oh, there is another element that's brought up, which is that this episode reveals that Gundo and Tomo have been friends since literal childhood because their mothers were friends.
Yeah.
That's fun.
good for them. Her mom's great.
Her mom's great. I love the shot of her mom and her dad in like the visual pan, their childhood flashback, where they're just both fucking monsters.
Yes.
It is great.
Oh yeah, we do get to meet Tomo's mom.
Mom with Fang.
And her
Fang's
dad.
mom. I think we've seen her
No,
dad.
we've met the dad before.
I think we've also seen a little bit of her mom, to
We've
be
seen
fair.
her mom a little bit.
I think,
before
like,
this.
Like her in like half a shot in the first episode, but her dad a little more because we've seen shots of him in the dojo.
Yeah,
Jun.
with June. Yeah,
God,
but yeah, good episode.
I just stare at Carol's face, and I'm just like, you are an entity.
You are a
She is
problem,
not
is what I say to
yes,
Carol.
also a problem, and I adore her for that. Okay, let's talk about the giant beast in the room. Hey, Michael.
Giant Beasts of Ars, is one of the fantasy shows of all time. Okay, I do really like this fantasy world. It certainly isn't like an interesting world to follow. It actually feels like nothing happened this episode other than us getting another character added to the party.
Hot
Technically,
button
One of
two.
them was
That's
added to
it.
the party last episode.
He wasn't officially added though.
he was added to the party. This episode is here to introduce us to a big booba cat lady, who
Bunny.
lady.
She's a
Thank you.
bunny.
She's a
Those
bunny,
are bunny
huh?
ears.
She's a bunny.
You just assume her
You stop that. That's not even remotely right, what you even
assume her
said.
species.
There you go. But also stop.
There you go.
but yeah, we get the big booba character that was teased in the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And she fits the role that essentially Faye does in the Cowboy Bebop
Yeah,
group, which is that she just cheats everyone out of everything, and she's an asshole.
Yo, but she's
Yeah.
also a medic.
She is
Yeah.
needed on the team, but also, I mean, to be fair, she cheated Jiro out of his money for a good reason.
True, she
But
did
then
think he was
also-
a fucking slave
But then
trader.
also
Yeah.
didn't give it back.
Yes.
Which doesn't
Well, yeah,
matter
she
if
wanted
she's
fair and square.
traveling, okay, but doesn't matter if she's traveling with them, I guess. But there are a couple of things we need to talk about this episode that I do agree are a problem.
Yeah, but essentially, the episode literally boils down to like 2 sentences.
Monster Hunter fight.
So they are poor. He bets he does gambling to get more money because he's very lucky. Fish monster appears. Fish monster bad. Fish monster doesn't have red eye. He goes to fight it. Fish monster now have red eye. Oh no! Now we have to somehow get her over to this fight for no reason for no reason for her to actually be sent over other than she needs to be over there to fight the beast. She gets there. Beast is killed within about 30 seconds. They spend more time doing a transformation sequence than they do actually fighting it.
I don't know why he
I'm
didn't
not
just take
gonna
her along
lie.
with him.
I'm not gonna lie. I straight up forgot about the fish monster. I remember the gambling and them leaving. That was
The
it.
fish monster is 15 minutes.
I have a
straight
couple.
up forgot
It starts
the
at, like,
entire
minute 6.
middle. I forgot the entire middle section of this episode. Like I remember the beginning and the end. That was it.
So the good thing about this show is that I have points of I do have some things I want to talk about that I do actually like in its setup of this episode, but there are also a lot of
Yeah.
things we do have to talk about.
I think the cat's still the best part of this show. She's fucking amazing. We got a real big one.
Let's talk about this fish real quick. What the fuck? This is just the Monster Hunter World monster.
It's like cool though. Like,
This is
fish
just
that
the
swims through mud,
Gyarados.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Is
but why
the
does
Monster
fish suddenly
Hunter
become
monster?
bad fish?
Why
I
is
wanna know
the
why.
why is
Oh,
the
but
mud
it had the
ground
red eye
and
the whole
water?
time, it just-
No,
They do a
I
really
heard-
bad job animating
I just-
this.
Quick question. I did remember this. So there was the point where the two of them are running away, like the new guy that we got and one other guy, and he
What?
and he goes, "No, man, run ahead. I got this." And then turns around to face a tsunami and
What
just gets
is
his
him?
ass handed
No,
to him.
he turns and I go, "What is your plan? What are you two going to
Yes.
do?"
No, he's the indestructible. You
I
do
think the best
not
part
get
is
it.
he turns around to face a tsunami, and then suddenly there's a fish, and the tsunami's gone.
Yes,
The flood
yes.
isn't even the problem.
It's a really silly collection of points that I guess is supposed to solve our convoluted "we have a giant chasm of no water" that is now I guess probably filled, maybe, I don't know. There are a lot of things that are really weird about this,
I
and
have a better question. Why do we need to be filled? The ship clearly flies.
it hovers. We talked about this. It would just hover down the water.
Over water.
It can't hover over a gap though. That'd be silly. That's silly. Yeah, let's talk about let's also talk about the fact that these characters are something. And by that I mean they're not a lot.
Yeah.
Akumi really is just Eat Food the character.
No, stupid Eat Food the character, 'cause she has no idea what's going on.
I don't
She's like Luffy if Luffy weren't fun.
Yeah, she hasn't had a chance to do anything also either to like develop an element of her character that is like admirable or that we could care about.
Okay.
I don't know what to say about her or Catboy. We haven't had him enough. He hasn't done anything. Hello,
Yeah, Melon's there.
hello, Bunny Mommy. she knows some things and talks about some things that are interesting. Paladins have a core thing? They have, like, a setting that they can reel in that apparently Jiro doesn't? Or can't?
Maybe
Is using the cleric too much bad thing? Is that why he keeps her away? We don't know.
I don't.
Kind of.
I will say,
I just.
there is an element about Jiro's character that I really like that comes up this episode, which is when he talks about the fact
Which is
of...
a gambling father who's clearly trying to sell her up to the slave trade.
No, gambling alcoholic aside, that's every male adult in a Tales of game.
Yes.
When they go and they deal with the fish, in quotations, because they don't, but they try, he's like, yeah, we're just gonna throw it in the river. To which I go, what river? There was just tsunami. You're not gonna have a river to throw back into. It's just gonna come right back where the fuck you are. But, he's like, I don't fight things that I don't have to, that I can avoid fighting. He's not the one who fights the first giant beast at all. He doesn't attack it at all. The one that attacks the wall in the first 3 episodes. He saves the guy, gets him out of there, doesn't swing a single weapon. He's only fought giant beasts that have red eyes. Which I would argue begs the question, why didn't you know the red eye is a weak point in the first 3 episodes? If seemingly that seems to be the thing you care about. But I like the idea that he's consistently not picking fights he feels he doesn't have to, and that he's, like, conserving his use with Kumi.
I just want to see him fight something in the past, and he's just hitting it repeatedly. It's like, I can't beat it! Because he just doesn't hit the fucking giant red eye.
But, like, I like the idea that, like, they're like, oh, she's like, Kumi, stay here, because she knows he's a paladin, she's a cleric, and that also, there's something about Kumi that's not, like, she's leaking, not good, in a way more so. And, like, so she doesn't want Kumi to go because she wants to protect Kumi, right? Jiro is fine with it because he doesn't think he thinks he can handle the problem without using violence at all. That's why he asks there's a red eye. I think that's a really neat element to this story. Outside of that, the only other thing I'll give this episode is, hello, other science experiment twin that looks exactly like Kumi and is evil, question mark?
Do you remember the fact that we've had 2 times in the show now where they've just copy and pasted the same character and then just slightly changed the saturation?
This one might have, it's, to be fair to the show, they might have reason for both of those. We just don't know. This might just be a race of cat people who also, well, a race of small child who also has animal on head, given the fact that there's like 10 different animals on their heads in the opening. Probably. We're gonna get more. I'm so excited.
I can't wait for this to have a Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer crossover where there's a lizard on one of their heads.
Yes.
Yo.
So here's where I stand with this show. I think there are elements of it that are not great. I do not think this show is very good. This show does, I enjoy watching this show at least. Like, stuff is, I mean it, I think stuff's cool, and like, I don't want it gone compared to other stuff. That's how I feel about it right now.
The other
still
show that I
defend
originally was
this
going to
one.
have under it impressed me with something this week. Well, this show didn't do that. So, yeah.
The show you're going to have under it pressed you with something this week? Impressed you?
Yes.
I'm
Cool.
excited. I'm excited for this. Because I can tell what the other show is. No, I do stand. I stand on this. This is a level to me where it's like, this show is generic, is boring, and probably not good. It still fires enough fantasy neurons in my brain that I want to keep it around over other things. That's where I stand on it.
I have exactly one thing I want to keep this over, and that's it. So, I think the show is. I see what the show is trying to do. It's just all the things it's trying to do, it's not doing particularly well, I would say. So that's my issue with it. Like, I want to know more. I want the characters to do things. And they just kind of don't.
It's very much a show that feels like it's trying to like do things and set things up, and you're just like, can we just find out stuff?
I will compromise that I maybe should have Angel Next Door over this show.
Really?
Yeah, it does things.
Wow.
It does things that move the story along at least more, and there are things I do like about it. But I stand in a very similar place where, to me, they're both like okay, fine shows. I legitimately think anything below Angel is worse than Giant Beasts of Ars, and I'll talk about it.
That's
No,
fair.
I can agree with that, honestly.
Really, there's a particular show there I thought you guys might not agree with that take on, but
I mean, for like at least on my end, I don't agree with your second to last, but that's me. But
I mean,
Well,
I can
yes.
agree with Spy Classroom, but
the other
should
one,
I have Spy Classroom probably lower? Yeah, maybe.
we'll talk about it.
we'll talk about it when we get
It'll
there.
be-
but that was,
I think
literally
it's a
the
solid
last
episode
thing we
outside of
talk
literally
about,
one
but-
thing, and me and Mason already talked about said
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
what'd you guys find out about that thing?
Oh,
Was it just a
we'll
giant
talk
plot hole?
We'll
about
look
it.
at the
We'll
episode,
talk
but
about
we're
it.
still pretty sure that the show did a big hoopla.
I'm so excited to figure out what the fuck you're talking about, as I am
We'll
someone who
talk
does
about it.
not know what this point.
It's okay.
I'm gonna get shot in the chest with something at the end of this podcast.
It's
Great.
okay, guys. We got to talk about the favorite show of the podcast now.
Oh
My
boy.
personal favorite.
Okay.
Mason.
Yeah, Mason. Do me a really solid, and you're gonna have to do a lot of work here. What the fuck happens in Fire Hunter this week?
Okay, so
Claymation.
first, it's not claymation. John,
We're
It's
gonna
not
hold on.
claymation,
Hold
it's
on.
an
We're
80s
gonna
chronological.
we're gonna talk about the show's animation because it is a point
Okay.
we have to talk about. But let Mason get through this first.
yes. So first of all, the train gets attacked by the dragon. Turns out this dragon is actually the guardian deity for Kaho's village.
Yes.
It is no longer guarding Kaho's village, and therefore her village is probably destroyed. As they're running away, the bigger woman, Benio, I believe her name was,
Yes.
gets fucking yeeted, which is what we see in the shot. Is her getting just absolutely fucking destroyed by the dragon. So Kaho,
First thing I must do.
Kaho, Toko, and Kanata, and then one of the workers from the train, specifically the guy that was in the tank room that Toko was working with, get to run away, and they run into the tree people, who Toko was actually trying to find in the first episode to get medicine from, and they're like, yeah, they explain the whole thing with the guardian deity, and then they're like, yeah, we'll take you, like, we'll treat Kaho's injuries, and we'll take you to the nearest village. That's all we're gonna do, but like, we'll get you there at least. They're kind of weird. I don't know how exactly to describe them. They're almost like mutants, kind of. I don't know exactly what they're doing.
They're the coolest thing in this show.
Wait, what do you mean?
What? We'll talk about. Finish though. Run through.
And then,
No, Michael.
God damn it, Michael.
The only thing I've been thinking of watching this fucking show.
And then we cut to Koshi, who's working in the little hideaway thing in the office, trying to figure out some stuff about the Fiend Fire and like doing the shit with his benefactor and yeah, all this stuff.
All the good
He's
shit.
just researching at the moment. We also get a scene where him and his sister and his new stepsister are like going to check out boats. And it's something. The capital stuff is really kind of dry. I'm not gonna lie. I fully acknowledge that.
They say lots of words.
There's
There are a lot of cuts to like character names and stuff. Oh no, I think that's even during the other stuff. There's a lot of cuts to important character names and stuff, and I was just like, I'm
Yes.
supposed to be following this.
Why do I
So,
care about the library man?
So the library man was someone that that Koshi
Used to learn
used
under.
to be
Yes.
taught by when he was at the academy.
Hi, he's also
has some-
suspicious as fuck. Yes, this whole show,
Yes.
that whole city radiant suspicious as fuck.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like one bit they did with this,
The
which
book?
is when he's
machine
reading the
book?
when he's reading the books, well, that and also when he's reading the books, he's like he's reading it, but we're hearing it from the writer's voice, like their point of view as they're writing it, which I think is cool. And now he's looking at this weird steampunk book in the library. I don't know what it's about yet. And then we go back to Toko for a little bit. I believe actually we don't go back to Toko after this. I don't believe so. We just finish it off.
We see.
I thought the show. I thought the episode ended with tree people.
It doesn't end with tree people. Tree people show up, and then we have a cut to Capital, and then we have a cut back. And then where we see that Kaho's okay, and then we have a cut back where we do the library stuff, and they go to Boat Festival, and then. Oh God, what does this episode end with? I
think that's it. I think.
Oh, is it them walking down? Is it them like? Yeah, it's like a cut to like a pretty pictures. They're like walking down the stairs.
Yeah.
I thought they had some kind of stinger at the end of this episode, but they might not.
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, please do.
But essentially, I guess I'll get my stuff out of the way with this show. I thought the stuff with the train group was actually really cool this episode. I was like super interested in what was happening there. Could not care less about the fucking shit happening in the capital. Like but I think like the train breaking down, and it's now just the three of those, like the three fucking lollygaggers off to do some bullshit. And the tree people as like a concept are super cool.
Yes,
the tree people are like
they are
good introduction of fantasy
They
stuff.
are the coolest thing in the show, design wise, in my opinion.
I also like how they're introduced and not like explained through fucking random exposition. You just get to experience them.
What does it end on?
So it ends on us getting some lore about the goddess.
Yes.
Which is actually really cool.
I thought we got this. Oh yeah, the tree people talk about it too, because they explain.
Yeah, so it cuts from Koshi and family walking down the stairs to them talking about, like, the narrator talking about, like, the goddess and how, like, so first the fiends came out, and right as the fiends came out, the goddess, like, burned alive to forge the first sickle. And that was how humanity was able to fight back.
I thought that came up while he was searching in the library, but I guess it was tangentially connected to it because they mentioned the goddess's younger sister. And there's a lot of things that get said this episode, and I'm not invested enough in it to care and try to decipher it. Michael, to your point about the stuff with the train, I do like that group more. I enjoyed that group more. I think the dragon interaction's underwhelming. I think there's so much stuff that feels like could happen there that doesn't. The train light's on fire. You're not gonna show me a single person combust in the flames? That's like your whole thing. Show me it. You have so many people on that train. You're not gonna show any of them combust for being too close? Woman gets ripped into fucking red goo by a dragon. That's cool. Show me people combusting in the flames too. Go all out. The animation, I'm not gonna call it bad because it is a choice. Like this is they're animating it in a choice. There is a batch of animation that I do think is really bad because
there's a bit of it.
I think the part where Kanata runs and saves her is indecipherable.
Yeah,
it's actually crazy how like the show has like 3 styles of like art in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the shit I showed, where it looks just like it's weirdly like 2D. It's very very 2D, and that like knees don't work properly when people are walking.
It's the Sasuke head turn in between animation style for everything.
And that's about a third of the episode, I'd say. The other like mostly 2/3 is like the decent quality animation that we've seen for a lot of like the talking in the city and stuff and this and that. But a lot of times when they're moving and there's action, this is in the action, and then it cuts to like more well animated stuff, and then it cuts back to this like low budget style. Is what it looked like to me at least.
I agree with Mason. It's not that much.
So it's maybe 4 minutes.
I mean, maybe in this episode it's not as big because it's like it cuts to the city where it's different for the rest of the episode.
I think this is the first time it's really noticeable is the train stuff, and that's the only time they really they use it a little bit when they're climbing through the woods, but post that they go back to the normal art style.
That and also I don't think it's low budget at all. It's just a
No,
choice.
this feels intentional. That's why I'm not saying it looks bad. This feels like it intentionally uses this kind of art style.
But I don't know if I like it. But I also do have to leave with John a little bit.
Do I like it? It's a completely different story.
There are some
But I
parts.
do
I
feel
feel
it's all
the
good
worst
and
looking stuff
intentional.
this season.
There are
personally.
some parts I really like.
I really don't like it.
I think when they fall out of the train, it works and looks neat and adds to like character movement and like
It did?
and how much how fluid it is. Yeah, because
Yeah.
them falling out of out of the train hatch is how I imagine someone would look falling out of a train hatch in a very fast-paced motion of just kind of like flop. You are
It wasn't
there.
fast paced though. It was like very slow.
What-
Is the issue I had.
But like
No.
my point is like in a fast-paced environment, you want to have to move. You can't just yeet out. It's not safe. It doesn't like that is how you would dip. That is how the body would move. I like it in that regard. I don't like it for the shots with Kanata saving her and them running away from the drag. I think it's all too messy and there's too much there. The fact that Kanata runs up to her into the screen with twists and turns like this is it's indecipherable to the human eye, I think.
I agree with that. I feel, John, I feel like you're being a bit harsh on it just because you don't like it. And not
I just
liking
think
it
looks
is,
bad.
I
again, but
don't
you called it low budget, which is very, like, not liking it and thinking it's low budget are two very different things. I'm not trying to, like, get into an argument about this, but it's like, making the choice to do this is different from, oh, we had to rush it. I feel.
I mean, it's just like I say low budget in that like a lot of the details are gone with it when they do that style. Like they have the motions, but they don't have any of like the like character detail, right?
there is a good section of the train stuff where it does feel like it's just very white. I am also not the biggest fan of. There's something about the way the train gets animated into the air when it breaks that I'm just like it's not.
It looked very weightless. It didn't like feel like the physics of it didn't feel right. Of like when the 4 drill legs or whatever
Yeah.
flew up and then flew back down, it just kind of felt like they appeared and then got bigger again.
As much
It
as I
didn't, like,
as
feel
much as I
great.
was worried about the dragon, it actually grew on me throughout the scene. I was like, no, this is working and it is looking intimidating despite the fact that I didn't think it would and it didn't look the way I really expected it to at the end of last episode. It wound up working and giving it a very different feel from the fell beasts or whatever I think whatever we're calling them. I think that's the term.
That's what it is. Fiends or fell beasts.
Yeah. I would
Like I like the dragon too.
I would
I'll
be
give it a try.
willing to see it in the same way that like, okay, giant beast, show me what the fuck you're doing with this clone of them, and if you're going to give me anything interesting to latch on to next episode, I'm willing to give this a little more time to cook to see what exactly it
Let it
wants
cook.
me
Let
to
it
care
cook.
about, because spiders. You can't just keep throwing around spiders when I know that it's not a physical spider, it's an entity of a person known as a spider. The way that they talk about them is my favorite. Might be my actual favorite thing of the
I
show.
will say like the one thing I really do like about the show is those like big panel shots, right? That are clearly like drawings related to like the show or like covers or whatever you want to call them, right? I feel like this would have just been this seems like a really interesting read, but it doesn't seem like a really enjoyable watch to me, right? Because it's just like dialogue, subtext, things cut to different section.
I will say, I am very interested in the stuff that they're doing with the whole like divine clans and stuff like that. Like, I want to know more about that. I'm very interested.
The fantasy setting of this show is interesting. The
This episode like,
metropolis
made me interested in
politics
its fantasy.
is not.
Yeah.
I do not care about your dad and his boat, and I do not. There's okay. I have to talk about this too. Koshi walks. Her mother, Koshi's new mother, the mom of the house, walks past Koshi, and he goes, "She smells like," and says a term, and I go, "Is that supposed to mean a thing to me? Am I supposed to know what that is? Did it get
I
lost
assumed
to
you were gonna
me?
explain that immediately.
Did
and
it
they
get
don't.
lost to me in the 6 pages of lore text that I just received that flew over my head to some degree? I'm a lore guy. there's a lot. And then he says that, and I'm like, is it a drug? Is it, like, something related to... What or why? Tell me. I need to...
Does she just stank? Like,
And again, this show, I really hope it's... And here's the thing. I can't give it credit for it yet, because it hasn't done anything with it. The feeling that people can't be trusted and things, and how... The feeling around Koshi's entire like story of just everyone not feeling trustworthy, if that tone doesn't get payoff, it's going to feel like it's odd being there. So I really hope it gets it.
I do want to say, I feel like this one deserves at least one more episode, just because of the like trailer for the next episode we got, where it shows multiple different new hunters, which seemed like the most interesting thing to me.
I don't know. I'm in the exact same place with Giant Beasts of Ars as I kind of am with this, besides the fact that like this lost me on a lot of the Koshi side of the story. Like, I just did not care. It was not clicking. I was not getting it. So in that regard, I have it below Giant Beasts for that reason. Like, I at least know what's going on in Giant Beast. I at least think some stuff in Giant Beast is funny, and silly and bad, but Fantasy Brain go burr. Fantasy Brain wants to go burr real bad. The tree folk are really cool. And the fact that they talked that was why she went. They brought it up earlier in the show as like these things are in the woods. She was trying to get stuff for them to help, cure eye illnesses. Like, cool, interesting. We finally get to see them. They're really fucking cool design-wise. I want more of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's similar to Giant Beasts again in the way where it's like, yeah, your fantasy element's really cool. Do something with it that engages me in relation to a story. Please.
I rate you this. Giant Beast has cat puns. The show doesn't have cat puns.
But it could.
Fucking true.
John, you
Damn.
hate the cat puns.
Damn, you right. He right though.
They were weaning on me.
There are a couple in this
Now it
past
keeps me
episode.
engaged. So I'm curious how they're gonna fit them in next time.
There are
the filter is when they do
It's
the
like
same
some
one
really
for
good
the
one
road,
at the
and you're just like,
beginning.
come on. Yeah, when they do like one like that's done like 4 times in 5 sentences, you're like, come on.
The meowment. In the meowment.
Unbearable meowments. That's all I can think of.
Fire. Here is my personal opinion. I think there are only 4 or 5 shows this week that if I were to, on a 1 to 10 scale, rate their episodes, I would even give in the ballpark of an 8. The rest of the shows, I think, are fine or mediocre this week. I think overall for the shows on our podcast, this was not a good week for them.
No.
I walked out feeling not as high on a lot of them.
I'll be honest. I even thought some of our top 5 shows had episodes that were like, eh.
And I'm excited to talk about what I think might be one of them for some of you and why it's not the case and why I really like it.
I think one show popped the fuck off this week, and
we all saw that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about this. High card. This week is Wendy. So I want to start with the start of this episode had me very about Wendy. I didn't really care a lot about not necessarily like the stuff with her father. That's like the important thing about the card and the dynamic they're obviously setting up. But I didn't really care about like she had a bad day. Run through that whole bit.
Wendy
The focus,
terrible, no good, very bad day.
yeah, the focus on her was really weird as opposed to a focus on Finn, which I think the show had been doing pretty well. But I get it. They want to introduce our cast, build up. That I obviously have seen this character before. Wait, so Wendy has the Ace of Spades. Congrats. Surprised we're using it in this way. The Ace of Spades is a very popular card to use in terms of anything media related. And on one hand, great to give it to the sole female character in your cast. Actually really nice to have her have it. Interesting to make it like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of character. This is Toko Fukawa. This is Toko Fukawa and
Yeah, but why does she grow boobs?
Yep. That's my biggest issue with this episode
Yeah,
is why she
why?
grow boobs.
Because it's hot.
I understand the idea that it's supposed to be a visual indicator that it's like a very clearly different character, but also like I think they do enough with the posing and the lip gloss and all the stuff to make it very clear she's different.
Yeah,
I think the
Here's the
possession
thing.
thing,
Here's the
right?
thing for me about this. I don't think it does anything obscene with it, and I don't really think there's anything wrong with having a big-chested character.
Other than the fact
mean,
that the
it's
first scene
certainly
we get
big.
of her is you see her tits grow.
Yeah,
That
I-
is
literally
the first
is
scene
the
we get of
first-
S&P. Or
Yeah.
LP.
Okay, we didn't talk about this with Giant Beasts of Ars. One of my problems with it was the fact that the character just starts to
Oh, yeah.
hold the sword between her tits, and we have another
Yeah.
show that is going to also do something with tits later.
Yeah.
I think this is
Yeah.
by far the least offensive of our shows in relation to what
I
it
mean,
does.
I agree, but we still need to call it out.
Like, but her character literally is bloodthirsty mommy who inflicts pain on people. She literally gets off on slicing Chris because he continually regrows his body back. Like,
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like the sexy, dangerous succubus kind of like entity. Like, I think the design
She's an
fits
ace for a
for what
reason.
I think the design fits for what they're going with. There wasn't really a point in the show this episode where I was like, this is clearly full fan service and doesn't like.
I'm not trying to say that it's full fan service. I'm just saying, like, they draw a lot of attention to it really quick. And, like, we've got to talk about that.
I don't. This is one of those cases where I will say it. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, and I feel like this is kind of getting. Like, we say we have to talk about it, and my thought is, do we? Like, in this case, do we? Is it that? Is it really that like hard for you guys? Like, does it detract from the show for you guys? Because it did not for me.
So
There's a reason it's 5 for me and it dropped from
That's
4 to 5.
crazy to me.
Is that it felt like they took the one female important character and went, we have to give her the sexy design. We have to
Yes.
do that because she's the token female of our main cast. Which annoyed me enough to drop the show a little bit. I also
Like-
really liked Angel this week, but that was separate.
like, my thing with it is you could have just done enough with the rest of her design, which they did. They didn't need to do the chest thing. It's just an added thing on top that I feel kind of detracts from it, to be honest.
I think it just detracts a lot more because the whole episode itself is just kind of okay this week. I think like it still did the cool high card stuff. It still did like the action and stuff, but like there wasn't like much outside of just like showing that like this is how this card works kind of thing of like her character and her double-edged sword, I guess you could say.
Here's the thing I do like. Here are some of the things I do like about this episode that I think it does. Really
There are a lot
well.
of things I like about this episode.
Yes.
That just in particular with Wendy and the design of LNP was my biggest issue with this episode.
Yep.
Same here.
I'm gonna let it go because I don't want to talk on it in circles about it. But that to me, this is one of those crazy moments to me where I'm like, okay, I guess. Things I do like. I like this as a setup episode for the squad. It does a lot of really cool things. VJ, really great to have him in a situation where he's clearly analyzing the fight and is not allowed to share the information when that is clearly one of his most important roles, where it's like you say anything and I cut your throat. You don't get to say anything about my power, idiot. Stop. You're too smart. I like that they show it off that way. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
He's John Doe.
I'm
His
just
power is John
I'm
Doe,
just
and I
thinking.
love it.
I'm just thinking. No, his name's John though. The power is Agent S. With again dumb names all around. Also another heart card. Where we literally have like hearts 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Art is all about body stuff. is
Yeah.
what I can see.
Still don't know this theme going on with the spades. Besides
think it's
weapons,
weapons.
it's all weapons. I guess is what we
It's all
decided.
weapons. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And clubs are like the weird ones.
I really
Club is miscellaneous.
we've only seen VJ for club. Is the thing. We have no other. I don't.
What was Rich Boy? Was he? He was diamonds.
He's a
right?
diamond.
Money.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty.
It's
I'm
gonna be
double.
fucking Logias.
Yeah.
I'm double checking.
Elemental bullshit.
What was his?
A rich boy.
Yeah, but
Like, for no dollars, if he can take any amount of money and transfer it and turn it into an item that is the price
Oh,
of the amount of
7.
money he has.
He has a
It's-
7.
It's how he
Okay.
dropped. It's how he dropped. It's how he dropped the safe,
safe.
on her, which is the
That really
fun.
was
Which
useless.
is hilarious.
We also have to talk about this detail because to me, I think it's incredible. She doesn't full slice the safe. She slices the side and corner off of it to break it. She targets what is probably the weakest part of its foundational structure, which is really cool in my opinion. I say what you will about how you feel about this plot around Wendy and the sword and her family. I did not find it the most enjoyable. Okay, the only other club we have was Nyx's. Nyx's was also a club, the fire. So elemental, environmental,
Elemental, probably.
fire, vines seems to be.
Yeah, we have
That
fire
one.
and plant. It's Logias
It's Logias.
Okay, sorry, I'm not a Hunter x Hunter
without
fan.
like the transforming
forgive me.
into them things.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
element.
Logia. Wait, is that Hunter x Hunter? Or is that One Piece?
That's One Piece.
One Piece. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right. I like the end of this episode with Finn and Wendy. I like the idea of having I'm a guy who's got your back. The rest of the team, they don't want to let you fly off the handle. We all do dumb, stupid shit. You fly off the handle. I'll just turn you back to normal. I think that's a really cool and rad thing to set up with this team dynamic. I think it really builds Finn in. It also, the later part of this episode where like Wendy goes through her day again and everything's like heads up, and she says to VJ, she's like, I'm having a good day today, let me handle it. I enjoy that bit. It makes me feel like she's a very competent character, or a character who can be very competent.
I have one thing about the Finn and Wendy thing, and that is, God, I really, really hope they don't make that a romance.
Yeah, it very much felt like they were pushing a little towards a romance, but it was like a very like this
Very
is the start
light
of something that could lead into something if the show wanted it to, and I sure hope it doesn't because it
I
just
hope-
feels like it'd be weird.
I don't think it
Yeah.
will, because I think they would have framed it in a different way if they.
That's because
played-
Finn and Chris also need to get together, but that's a tough
Yeah.
step.
Correct. I think this show is too gay for that to happen.
Fair.
Again, not talking about her design, because obviously you guys have expressed thoughts on the one part of the design you dislike. The stuff you do enjoy with is the body language, the movement.
She is posed so amazing.
Yes.
You could tell she's
Oh
fucking
my god.
insane.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's really good. The line with her and Chris. What does she call him? She
I
refers.
don't remember.
She
I don't know. She calls
basically.
VJ Veggie J, and I
Yes.
thought that was
Yeah.
funny.
She just refers to him as basically a hunk of meat. That she.
Yeah.
And I just, that bit is so good.
I also like the foreshadowing with her, the idea that she's gonna come back and what's it called? Finn's gonna have to deal with her again, and this time probably without a ton of help.
Yeah.
I'll see you again, little boy.
As much as this gets overdone, like this type of character appears a lot, and there doesn't feel like there's too much new here. I still like it. I think it's executed well. I think it has ways that it can develop that will hopefully be good. I still really like High Card and the stuff it does.
Yeah.
I thought it had a really good episode this week overall.
Yeah, no,
There
I think in
definitely
general
are
it was a
some
good
lows.
episode.
There definitely are low elements to it that I think can be. Her dad's design is cool. He's also just Hanzo.
Shimada.
Shibata. Do you guys have other thoughts?
High card good this week. I just think it's like just careful. Be careful, show.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's funny because we most of us have it at the exact same spot.
Yeah, we dropped it a couple spots, you know. It's like, Buddy Daddies and Trigun stayed good enough. some things jumped up for us. High card, you take a step down, but like you're still there.
Yeah, it's still solidly.
Top
I think
half.
yeah.
Just don't fuck it up again. We're watching you.
Do everything right.
I don't even.
fuck it up.
Again, I really don't even think it fucks anything up this week. I think it's a fine episode.
I don't think it fucked anything up. It just definitely gave reasons to worry. Is all.
Hi, let's talk about Angel. John.
Hi, this is episode Angel, where we leave off. We pick up where we left off, which we all forgot was where the friends are like, they find her out on the balcony and they go, "Wait a minute, she's your neighbor."
He's the neighbor.
She's the neighbor and the person you bought the gift for. And so they have this like in this talk where it's like they're talking, it's just like, please don't tell anybody. Like, we won't tell anybody. It's fine. And the girlfriend's just like, she's so cute up close. I must touch. And they're like, can you not?
A little weird.
But so they have that whole scene. Then you have those two having their little Christmas date together. They play video games. They give each other Christmas gifts after she wins. He's like, here's your prize for first place. He gets her little key wallet for his apartment.
She Mario Kart turns.
Mario Kart. She's doing the lean in with the Mario Kart, and it's very cute. And she's like, "Oh no, step neighbor, I fell on your lap."
The controller bit.
The controller bit was pretty cute. I thought it was cute. But I mean, it showed you cute things. I don't know what to tell you.
She gets sick.
She gets sick now. He takes care of her. He like makes her like rice porridge the first time, and then she takes another nap, and she wakes up. He's like, "You want rice porridge again? You want pudding or something?" She's like, "I really should go." He's like, "Rice porridge or pudding?" She's like, "No, I really got rice porridge or pudding." Pudding. Okay, thank you.
It's gelatin or pudding.
Or gelatin.
And she chooses gelatin. It's important because it is cute the way she says gelatin.
My bad. I forgot. It's been a minute, but basically the show is just more cute girl doing cute things with boy. I don't know how else to describe it.
There's an important person in her life who cooks. We are not allowed to know who that is.
It's her nanny. I thought she said it was like her caretaker.
She said,
yeah, she said
a caretaker.
She says her name.
No, we don't get a name.
I thought she
Yeah, we
did.
do.
I could have sworn we got a name for the caretaker. Who?
I think they hinted at it.
She goes, yeah, this person did X, and he goes, who? And she goes, oh, it was the caretaker at my house.
I really didn't think we got a caretaker.
Yeah, we got a name. We definitely did.
Yeah, because the reason we learned it's a caretaker is because she says a name first. The Riz on this man, he's fucking.
I mean, yes, Princess carries her into his own bedroom.
I like how he's like,
I'm either walking into your room or you're sleeping on my bed.
Pick.
And you're like, you know what?
What if
That's a little fucking weird.
What if I say neither? I walk right into your house. Deal with it. No, I really
jump
like
off
this
the
show.
balcony.
I really like this show.
Yeah, I forget. I think he has a message with like his mom.
It's
who like is texting her now.
This screenshot's the end of the episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought this is how the episode ends. Is the "You're bad for my heart."
Yeah.
Which is a good line. Look, I stand.
They showed some good one-liners.
I stand where I stand with this show. I think it is run-of-the-mill romance, so it does everything right. It hasn't really done anything wrong. It's a completely unoffensive romance. But I'm going to take the issue with it that I'm going to take with any show who wants to use this as the plot line. I don't like. It always bothers me to build the people can just be friends plotline and also have constantly in the romance the fact that they're gonna get together. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've been through the trope the whole time. This show's fine. I have no mean or negative things to say about it.
Her playing Mario Kart was very funny because she did the thing. She do the lead.
The only thing I could think of with that scene, however, was in my brain going, "God, John loves this show."
I thought it was cute.
Like my brain went,
"This was so good."
My brain went, "This is a bit for John. This was made for John in particular to look at this girl and go, ha, she cute. My girlfriend does that."
No. We don't play Mario Kart. We play League of Legends and Valorant.
And Pokemon.
She goes, and I quote, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Testify. Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a lot to say about. Again, it probably should be higher than Giant Beasts of Ars. Do I want generic fantasy? That's bad, or or generic romance that doesn't do anything wrong. Doesn't it say something horrible about my brain that my brain immediately on power ranking went bad fantasy?
Yippee, bad fantasy show.
Does it say anything
I
on my
slipped that up,
I went
baby.
romance show?
I slip it up, baby. Bad fantasies.
Hey, listen. I told Amber this week too. It's like, listen, Amber, what you don't understand about me putting Sugar Apple Fairy Tale at #1 this week is that
It's the right
yes,
decision.
it might not be my show, but I do hop on the bandwagon of the best romance of the season. It doesn't matter whose show it is.
I don't see. We're gonna talk about this. I have different reasons why I put it up there.
I mean, me too,
But-
but like, it was cute. But like, the show also cute. It's in the middle. Should it be higher than Tomo? Probably not. But like, I don't know. I just put it there. I kind of did power rankings over like 2 minutes before I went out to go get boba for somebody.
Oh, now you're using her as a scapegoat.
I am. Absolutely.
Wow.
Is it
Hi-
wrong?
Hi,
There
let's
you go.
Michael talk about Buddy Daddies, and then I want to be the first to go because I need to explain why it's not in top 3 and is sitting at 5.
Okay, so Buddy Daddies went fucking hard this week. I actually could not pull the smile off my face the entire 30 minutes I was watching this because I had to pause it to laugh 5 times. This episode was just pure fucking joy, other than the 2 minutes of depression. But like, other than that, she goes to daycare. And also, this episode first starts with her trying to be helpful. She wants to do everything.
She tried very
But
hard.
she is 4 and is very bad at it. Then they go, okay, we gotta bring her to daycare because we can't deal with her while we're trying to do our job. And then they go through getting the kid into daycare, which is apparently a very arduous process for like
Yes.
no reason. You gotta go to fucking government and stuff to be allowed to send your kid to daycare.
Hi, you must
Which
prove
is-
parent and that you're not a horrible person. These are requirements for child
Hey, that's hard
services.
to
Ah,
do.
shit.
Correct.
But yeah, then it's just they go through the interview process. The first place goes terribly because Miri is a child and blurts out all the things she's been told, like how these are forgeries and how they do bad business and how they are hitmen and how they have a gun, and how
And how they
the
murder
one-
people.
the
And
one
how
dad is very good with guns, which they could have very easily turned into a video game. But Miri goes, "No, they don't understand. It was a real gun."
no, you don't understand. They
tried.
murder people in cold blood.
Yeah. Then they do another interview, where Miri has to where Miri doesn't blab about anything. She's told to just agree with what Dad says, which good job. She does it. It makes some really silly conversation bits, but it's a good time. And then she's in daycare, but before she gets to daycare, Kazuki Papa has to make the worst decision and be like, "You got to make a big impression. So we're gonna get you all these designer brand name clothes and spend tons of money on them." So that's why they're dripped as fuck in this screenshot. They are drippy. And
They are
also, the
dripped the
screenshot
fuck
leads into
out.
the funniest fucking scene in this episode, which is
Yes.
all of the moms that are there see the two of them and they go to their group chat and go, guys, they're so hot." And Miri goes,
2 dads?
they're hitmen.
She's got 2 dads? They can take a hit out on my husband.
yeah, then you go hitmen, and then they just go, yeah, they get hit. It was just so good. I was fucking dying. I almost grabbed those as I should have maybe grabbed those as a screenshot,
This
but I
one's-
feel like this read better than having to just read subtitles. But yeah, but then Miri having these fancy nice clothes, none of the kids want to play with her because they're like, "Oh, she's rich. She doesn't want to get her clothes dirty." Blah blah blah, and she gets sad.
She gets bullied.
Which, you know
The
what? She is
progression-
very sad.
The progression from like the first day to like the 4th day fucking hurt, man.
Yeah, it's like, damn. Because you see like, I don't know how I feel too. I didn't feel very good to not saying anything. It's like, oh no,
no.
no.
Mm,
And then they buy her cheap clothes, and then the two of them learn about cheap clothes store or cheap stuff store. That's amazing. Think two poor guys go, "Holy shit, this stuff's all $4," and then explode. But yeah, then we have a nice happy end where where everyone's her friend now because she can play with them, and it's just nice and wholesome and good.
So
This
here's
episode's just cute.
here's the crazy thing. I think the part where he plays with them is probably one of the best parts of this episode.
Which
Um,
also
Really
really good.
I think that and the building up to it, the sad stuff, I like those elements of it, and I like the stuff in the beginning with Miri. Here, some of these bits do not hit as hard for me. I personally did not care about the Miri lies to the examiners bit. I didn't really find the just say yes and the whole stuff that follows it like comedic or too enjoyable, and the same stuff with the thrift shop. And I on one hand, it's not a bad theme to go for the episode of you don't have to try too hard to be something you're not or to be too fancy. But on the other hand, and I know this is going to be a really strange take to have, I don't think he's too wrong on his idea. He only kind of goes wrong because it's a daycare. They play. She doesn't need super fancy clothes. She needs stuff to be active in, right? But in a different setting, he would have made the right call. That on a societal level,
In a
he
normal
wants
school.
to stop her from being the one getting picked on. And maybe it's because of the fact that I feel like we didn't get a lot into our two guys, and we spent a lot of the episode with Miri, which is fine. She's great. He clearly has stuff from his childhood about being poor and not being the person who had all the cool stuff. And we didn't get a lot from Ray at all this episode besides the bit of, hey, no, you're coming with us. Deal with it. I don't know. I think this is just a very run-of-the-mill two parents and their kid episode, which is fine. It doesn't do anything. Again,
Offensive.
nothing offensive. I don't think it's incredible or amazing, and I really like what's sitting in the top 3 for me, and I liked High Card. Probably this and High Card are maybe interchangeable. To me, this doesn't break in the top 3 this week. I like it. It didn't do anything for me that I thought needed to raise it that high. That's kind of where I sat on that.
That's fair.
I also think it's a weird choice to do all of this in one episode and not as much as it's like, okay, get it out of the way in one episode and move on to other stuff. This feels like something you would normally do over 2 and have them do spy stuff in. And I feel like maybe that's what was missing for me, was that for a show that is also for a show that had a lot of action in its first 3 episodes, and an element that I enjoyed the spy plotline as well, with the assassin spy criminal plotline, along with the being a child caregiver. I'm like, I maybe would have wanted a little more of that too. Show's still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Still definitely top 4 pack, hands down. That's where I sit on it.
Yeah, I thought the show was good. I thought it had some cute moments this episode.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. Like, I didn't really need the spy stuff, to be honest. Like, it's always good, but like, the show's half and half, and I'm fine with one episode being full like family stuff and not as much spy.
Yeah.
So would you say you want some spy, but not as much family?
Maybe next week.
And maybe it is. Maybe part of this is we're coming off stuff like Yakuza. We're coming off stuff like Spy Family being on this podcast. That to me, this episode is like, seen it, done it. Miri's cute. I like the end a lot. If some of the comedy stuff didn't hit with me I think the episode isn't as high in the week. It's the classic me trait. But yeah. Let's talk about a banger. And then we're gonna Hey Mason. Trigun.
Hey, Trigun. So Trigun. So we find out why we've kind of been Trigun has been kind of speeding through a bit of what the original anime did. And the whole reason for it is to get to this character that is on screen right now. His name is Wolfwood. He's great. So he is an Undertaker. That they run into quite literally on the desert.
Fuck you, Mason.
I didn't mean to make that one, but I saw the opportunity as I said it.
He's not
you.
wrong. He is not wrong.
Mason, I know you didn't mean to, but I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So yeah, they run into him. They try and find some help. They find this little outpost and find 2 people dead, and a child hiding in the locker. So they're like, well, fuck. Okay. We'll bury the dead. We'll take this kid in for now. We'll drop them off like when we get to a safe settlement. Wolfwood, for being an Undertaker, fucking sucks at it, which is really funny. Like he keeps fucking up the prayer just to like give them their burial rites. And then they get eaten by a giant worm. And we get a lot of the episode where they're in the worm, and the child goes missing. They kind of kid just kind of runs off in the giant worm and gets lost. So they split up to go find him. Meryl finds the kid and then gets yeeted somewhere. We don't really see where. The other 3 meet up. They're like, well, fuck, we keep losing people. Okay. And then as they're talking, Roberto gets snatched. So Wolfwood and Bash are like,
Almost called him Trigun. I love it.
I did. I really did.
It's my favorite character, Toradora. Tora and Dora.
Look, I'm tired. Okay.
No, I love it. It's
so.
Roberto calls him Stampede half the episode. You're allowed to call him Trigun.
So. Wolfwood and Bash get yeeted out of the worm by it sneezing them out, essentially. And these guys that are watching this happen are like, "All right, guys, you gotta get away, or it's gonna eat you again." And Bash is just like, "I'm here. I'm not leaving without them." And gets eaten again. Wolfwood goes with him because he's like, "God, fuck, you're the only person I know out here. I guess I'll go with you." They discover that the kid was actually controlling the worm the whole time. Wolfwood yeets the kid out of, creates a giant hole in the worm and shoots the kid. Kid ends up living, but we don't see them for much after that. And then Wolfwood decides to tag along. And then we get a scene afterwards where it turns out Wolfwood and the kid were working together just so that Wolfwood can eventually kill Bash at some point. Which he had multiple opportunities to do during this episode, and Bash even points it out, and he hasn't done it yet. So it's going to be interesting to see this dynamic. But I love Wolfwood.
I was like, he didn't do it yet, so it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I
love Wolfwood.
There's a lot. Yes. Sick design, cool weapon.
Yeah.
Everything about him's great. I think the line that's more important than the "you've had every opportunity to kill me and haven't" one is when he's talking to Roberto, and he's like, I can see it in his... Roberto's like, he kills people with a smile on his face. And as we know, Roberto's really good at reading people. The man suspects fucking everybody every moment of the show, always.
He knew exactly what he was before.
Doesn't even trust the fucking kid, really. Interacts with the kid at all, zero. But Bash's response is, I can tell by looking at his eyes that's not the case. One, funny, he wears sunglasses, so it's funny in that regard. But also, the fact that we then get the other line at the end of the episode with Worm Child, who's
Zazie the Beast.
Who's like, I can tell by looking at your face that you enjoy killing people. And it's that
killing friends.
Yeah, killing friends. And it's that direct parallel between how Vash sees him and how this Worm Beast character sees him.
Yes.
That I think is really neat. I also just love what can I say? I love foils. You got a damn good foil right here between Vash and Wolfwood.
Yes.
Just character who is a pacifist but will also trade his life at the drop of a dime to character who will kill as soon as he has confirmation that he is good to kill and will do anything for self-preservation. Wonderful foil. They're great. Only gripe with this episode. Where the fuck did they go? Where the fuck did Meryl and Roberto go? They're just fine. We're not gonna talk about where they went.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Fine.
Don't worry about it.
I was
the
really.
assumption. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was really expecting to get like a moment where Vash was like, "Hey, thanks for saving us, but we didn't know where they were. What if your laser killed them? Like, it's fine. A lot's happening. We have to move pieces. Stuff's gonna fall through cracks. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything looks fucking incredible this episode. Also, just again.
Yes. Like, somehow they make this desert planet look really cool, which is very odd considering most of the time deserts fucking suck in everything.
At least this part of the area is desert. We don't know what the rest of the world looks. We know somewhere in the world it's red.
It's a
Thanks-
desert planet.
Thanks, Knives.
It is a desert planet. They talk
Okay.
about that. Knives is on his own thing,
Okay.
but
Michael, John.
It was just a good
Hey.
episode. Yeah, I thought Wolfwood was cool as shit.
Guys, you
Um,
rocks.
I was like, wow, this man has a cross. I know that's a gun, but like, what is it gonna look like as a gun?
it's fucking
The
sick.
point is,
Pretty
every part of it's a gun. It's not
Every-
just
it's
one
like
end of it.
like,
Every
turning
end's a
different
gun.
engines. He has the quad gun.
It's
Trigun Wolf.
it's a gun. It's lasers.
Gun.
It combines its lasers into a bigger laser.
Which is also a gun.
He spins
Yeah,
it.
turning into a laser and spinning it to cut the worm.
It
To
was
bisect
so
the worm was cool as
cool.
shit.
The
It's
fucking.
so cool.
I also love the guys who are like, "Yes, food, baby, let's go."
Right?
Yeah, no, our three psychos out in the
Yeah.
middle of the desert.
Just
Actually, just
Our
the psychos
Borderlands,
for the
like-
Yeah, I
Borderlands.
was gonna say just Borderlands NPC characters like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, what's up?"
I did also really like the bit at the end of the episode where, like, the whole time Meryl's trying to get Vash to eat because
Yeah,
he's so
no.
fucking depressed, and he finally sits down and eats after this because he's like,
And he just casually does it.
yeah.
It's real good, and
He
then
hadn't
he
eaten for,
calls
like,
back.
4 days.
Yeah, and then he calls back to Wolfwood's line as well as like, "You deserve to laugh. You deserve to live," which
Yeah.
is a very not, from what we know about his character, a very not something you would expect from him, knowing that, like, obviously, like, it's a matter of how much of what you're getting from a character is real and how much of it is them setting up for trust.
Yeah.
Which obviously my brain's like, it's fine. I'm sure Vash has already had people he cared about try to kill him before. This will be nothing new. They'll
Yeah.
work past it. This worm character has a really cool design. That design's rad as fuck.
Yeah. I like the flying helmet thing. That was neat.
Was pretty neat.
Other thoughts, John?
I don't know, I thought that was sick as hell. I think new character's pretty cool. I like that, like, things are happening, you know, in the show. It's progressing. I thought the bug thing was interesting. I like how it's like the classic, like, he's a bad guy, but he's actually a good guy, but he's actually a bad guy, but he's gonna be a good guy. Like, kind of shit going on here. It's like they clearly revealed, like, he's a bad guy. Trust us. He's with the other guy that we just fought. He's gonna be a bad guy, and you're like, no, he would have just killed Vash.
Him and Vash
he's
must
too
be gay
hot.
for each other.
The thing that I like,
Boom.
the thing that I really like about Wolfwood is that he's not gonna die in an action sequence. He's gonna die from lung cancer. Jesus fucking Christ, my dude, calm down. They do that shot where Vash has been looking at the tunnels and just at his
And
feet are
there's
fucking
fucking
10 cigarettes.
piles
The
of
man smoked
cigarettes.
2 packs. Throughout this episode, he probably smoked 2 whole packs. They're
And then he
there
goes up to
for
him
a
like,
day.
Hey man, can I bum a cig? And you're like, No. And then you give it to one of him anyways. Like, no,
I
that's good.
also do enjoy the bit where he's like, it's okay, kid. My parents died too. And Meryl's like, whoa. And he's like, but life gets better. Have a lollipop. And Meryl's like, okay, I guess he's got this part down.
Like,
So like how he takes out the
watches
lollipop,
like,
unwraps
He
it, and
eats
then
it
fucking
himself.
eats the first one.
Yeah.
He fucking eats it. I was like, I should you guys a fucking second one.
They do
He
a
just goes,
That
yeah,
big garbage.
life sucks. Anyway.
They do a really good job of giving him that moneyless bum who doesn't know, or who does a bad job at his job bit, where he places his cross down, and then just as he's fucking up the prayer, the cross also tilts a bunch in the sand. He's like, ah shit, no, I got
I really like how the prayer is almost the Our Father,
Yeah.
but it's like very much not. Like my brain's like, this is close enough, but it's not.
Yes.
And I thought that was really funny. 'Cause I was
Please,
like, hey,
please take us to your driver.
No.
No,
this
no,
ain't
that
it. Why would I
design-
think about fashion?
That line fucking killed me.
Got me.
I love Wolfwood. Wolfwood, what a great add to the cast for this show.
He's wonderful. I'm very glad because I knew that they were like speed running the first bit just so we could get to Wolfwood because he's everyone's favorite character.
Yes. For good reason.
Yeah, it's great.
Is that dude wearing a suit in the desert? He's gonna die. It's a good thing he's got his tombstone. God, fucking NPC core dialogue. I love them.
Dialogue.
he got his tombstone with him, hey.
They could have given them those voices and it would have worked and I would have died. This might have been This might have been number one for me if they did.
Hey, Gabagool, hey.
Hi. Okay. We have a show to talk about. A show that I think legitimately had a really good episode until literally its last 10 seconds. Where
Yes.
Reborn this week. We pick up where we left off. Fighting a Highness Menel. Menel. Fantasy word. More Battle Junkie. Oh my god, give me a second. I have to pull up character names or I'm not gonna be able to do this.
Ronnie, Chris,
Yeah.
Salen.
Oh my god. What's the redhead's name? We get it.
Oh fuck, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
And
She's
Sierra?
She's the Highness
It's
Mena.
an S name, like every redhead
It's a
ever
Iris-
is.
Yeah, she's the Highness Mena, or
Yeah.
whatever. And we get masked guy.
We'll talk about him.
Tuxedo Mask.
We'll talk about Tuxedo Mask. Sistia Rouge is her name.
Yeah.
So
Rouge.
Chris fights Sistia. This fight's rad. The show looks really good for this whole bit. The dodging multiple stabs from a spear, backing her into a corner, which I think the funniest part is she stops, she goes, "You're out of space," and then she keeps
Yeah.
trying to stab her, and then she kicks her through the wall. I think that's hysterical.
That bit got me where she's just like, out of room.
Yeah, and Mason, you know what it is? That's a Ruby quip.
Yes, it very much is.
And then she goes, "Oh, you think you knew everything about me and my spear? Portals." And then Chris goes, "Okay, I think I've solved this one." And she goes, "Oh, you thought?" And then kicks her through it, which is actually really smart. And then Chris bodies her. To the point where Sistia has to resort to plan B, which is, did you know you're backing criminals? Did you know that the bourgeois is evil and not very good? Have you maybe considered why the man is being drained from the city? And Chris goes, "I don't care." And she goes, "I'm sorry?" And she goes, "I don't give a fuck. I just want to fight strong people." And she goes, "You should not have power," which might be the funniest line of this episode.
I think something I really enjoy about Reborn is that if this were any other show, Chris would be like the psychotic side villain. She
There
would
is-
be the Zagi from Tales of
I just
Valkyrie.
enjoy fighting for the most powerful opponent. I don't care what the bad guys are
Yes,
doing.
exactly, right? There's a non-zero chance that
Chris is
the
the
main
bad guy.
party of this campaign could go down like a not great moral route, and Chris would just be like, "We're here, we're chilling, I'm fighting people."
You see me fight that guy last week? That shit was insane.
And after realizing she cannot win through convincing Chris not to fight her, Rafi shows up and she goes, I see, a hostage, and starts to strangle her. Man, this art style.
I have one thing about this bit.
I like that triggered tryhard mode
How
too.
far can she strangle people from?
So, my thing about this bit is that she's like up on the rooftop about to get away and still choking Ronnie.
Right, at my point.
And Chris goes, hey, but I've got one thing to say to you real quick. And goes on like a quick monologue, like a short monologue.
Your friend
while
is
Ronnie
being
is she's still being choked out.
It's okay. They're not human.
It's fine.
They're not human. They eat massive amounts of food. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I enjoyed the shot, the close up "You're a Dead Woman" shot from Chris. Tonally it works. The show shifts tone really well, I think. And then Highlander is like, hey, let's have tea, and you immediately go, something bad's going to happen with this tea. It's been a while since I watched episode 3. I forgot we had a monster drug. I thought we were just going to try to put everyone to sleep again. Because that's usually what you do with this. That's how they make it seem. And then she goes, I have a thing to show you. Here's the circle that's going to lift this entire town into the city. And they go, what about the people? And they go, oh, well, they either become slaves, have to become Highlanders, which is not very likely, or get kicked out of the city. Yeah, or / die. And they go, well, that's not... And Ronnie goes, that's not very good. And our Highlander goes, well, I don't want that to happen. I think we can... I will fight any Highlander I need to convince them that these people are good people and they can at least become Highlanders, which I love this, because this is really good writing for a noble high-birth character to go, it's okay. This can still happen. I'm not going to stop it from happening. But what if I let the people become one of us? That'll solve the problem, right? They'll all just give up their life because they like me.
I will say I did like this bit quite a bit, honestly.
I do too.
Just because of the fact of it's like, I was fully expecting her to go fucking crazy and like be evil.
I expected this to do the exact fucking thing Tales of Arise does.
Yes,
exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting a Ganabelt bit.
And
it wasn't.
And then we get Chris going, and then she's like, what do you... also, a line I really love, because holy shit, how self-righteous of a... Again, noble bloodline. They write this character really well. Why are you showing us this? I'm just doing such horrible things that I needed someone to know my crime. Oh, get off your fucking horse, man.
The exact thing was, I wanted someone to know and forgive me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're doing everything to both not redeem this character and also try really hard to make her be the safest person you can. And then she's like, so what do you two think about this? And Chris goes, Ronnie, your call. Rafi, your call. And Rafi goes, why? And she goes, I don't care. I'm your Squire. I'm gonna be your Squire.
You're the knight.
I'm the Squire.
You get to make the big boy calls. And she makes the call that is, I trust you. In fact, I would even serve under you as a knight. And I go, interesting choice. Sure, I guess.
Speaking of being the bad guys.
Promise to make show.
Speaking of also being a noble still, interesting. And then they get outside and she turns... and then nighttime passes and she was walking or Highlander was walking through the forest when she goes into Titan mode.
She was given the bad drug. I wonder when that could have happened.
Yeah, no, it's very easy. It's very obvious. We go through a really great monologue from this maid who's like, my son was killed by Highlander, and she gets lasered.
It's fucking dying.
She got fucked up.
That bitch
got fucked
up. I was losing my mind over that.
My son was killed by Highlander, and so are you. Jesus Christ.
And now so have you.
And then Chris is just like, yeah, get everyone out of here. We'll deal with it. And my favorite line is, she goes, Rodney, distract it. You have to stop her from shooting lasers, and just goes to fire another laser, and just arrows just blink, 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 blink.
Ow! That's annoying.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments in that. So I will say, the decision to want to not kill her once she's transformed is odd, as the show has given us no reason to believe there is a solution to this problem. Nor do I think the solution Chris comes up with is a good one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But first, Redhead comes back, as does fucking Mystigan from Fairy Tail. Hi, what are you doing here, bro? When am I gonna meet your twin brother? And he's just like, and he spars a little bit with Chris, and Chris is like, damn, you're good. Holy shit. You might be a divine knight, but there's no gods. But are there gods? Weird. We'll worry about that later.
Wait a minute, I know that technique. That's mine.
And then the kids, and then the orphans she takes care of come out and cry, and her giant monster for turns and gets ready to hand laser them, and then as everyone is rushing to die to the hand, I don't know what either of their plans were. They were running straight to the children. They were doing the classic I'm not going to defeat the thing, but instead take the laser for the child moment, which is my favorite bit. At which point, thankfully, she stops firing the laser, and Chris goes, "There's still a bit of her inside there." I mean, yeah, I would hope so. And she's like, "Let's make a deal. I'm gonna try something, and if it works, we're all good here, and you don't kill her." Or Masked Guy's like, "Sure, if it works or doesn't work, you still get the fuck out of this town. We're stopping the floating circle." They're a part of the weird evil band of... It's such an odd group. He seems like a nice guy. She doesn't seem too bad. Leon seemed fucking insane.
Yes.
So
this guy is supposedly like the leader of it.
Yeah, so it very much feels like, oh, cool, we have a nice resistance group that has a bunch of crazies in it that we can't really sort out.
Yeah, I think the idea is that he's reasonable enough to understand that fucking Chris will do dumb shit if
True.
left unhandled here. So
True.
like, he can't just go, I'm gonna do this thing and go against the wills of this insane being that is standing next to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
if I do, bad shit will happen.
They at least seem pretty on par, for what it's worth. This is probably the first fight where you're like, huh, could she take this character?
Yeah. Like, the idea is that he has a connection to Aether or something.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he can take an Aether punch.
Mhm.
And she's like, here's my plan. I'm a freezer. And I go, and then she goes, now we just have to move her. And I go, how? Chris, what was the second part of your plan?
Where's the moving part?
We've seen Chris
That's
kick one of these
that's
things
true.
a mile.
Then why'd she have to freeze it? She could have just kicked it. But I get the
didn't
point.
want her.
Buy time, yeah, wants to be nice. And so our masked man goes, don't worry, I got you. Turns her into a Final Fantasy summon crystal.
Yes.
And it's like,
Which then hatches into an actual animal.
it hashes into our fairy companion who decides, and of course this is part of the episode where I go, oh, show you were doing such a good job of avoiding this problem.
Oh, you're doing so
Uh,
good.
Where it goes, this fairy will now live in your boobs. And she goes, can we not have the fairy live in my boobs? And Ronnie goes, no. Why? Because I don't have boobs. So you have to deal with this. And I go, do we? Do we really have to? The only saving grace is at the end of this episode.
You know what? Fair at that part. I was like, they got you there.
The only saving grace is at the end of this episode. It has a shot. It has like a light novel, like artist sketch where it shows her not in her cleavage. So maybe, just maybe, this bit will go away, or not be, or if it pops up, it will just be the fairy comes out of her chest, and we won't have to do weird noises. Because that's by far the worst part about it.
Yeah.
With the zoom-ins or the weird noises. This is surprisingly, happy to say, once again, I found my middle of the pack show. If you're not better than Reborn, you're not doing something right.
It's very Skull Knight to me.
That's how I feel about it right now.
That's pretty fair. I think it's a fair assessment.
And I think the show is completely fine. It's not like it's particularly good. It's just like funny watching Chris do dumb bullshit. I will say, counterpoint to earlier, you guys were like, oh yeah, the fight was great. I don't know. I remember seeing that fight, and in my mind, I made the note, this looks like dog shit. It was like actually 5 frames being repeated over and over for 5 seconds.
But it's
And I was
five,
kind of just like, damn, that's super boring.
but it's 5 good
It was
frames.
very Dragon Ball
It
Z
looks
fight where it's
fine.
just
I don't
like
know.
Yes.
It was
the
literally
same
fear
animation.
blur, and then her just dodging in 5 different positions. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty hype.
I
Is
mean,
it?
I agree.
I don't know,
I agree with
T.
John. It has like the DBZ dot like spar
It's
feel where
Dragon
it's
Ball
like
Z,
do do
where
do
it's like
do do, and
but
like
just-
it,
their punches is a spear.
it's the fast paced act. Like to me, I'm like, oh, it uses the same 5 because this show's dumb. It doesn't want to have a budget.
You know, see, the issue is that it does feel a little bit like the DBZ thing, but the reason why DBZ is that it costed a lot of money to draw frames.
I mean,
It costs money.
Yeah.
This felt less like DBZ to me and more like fucking SAO sword flash flurries that just look like strobe
Also-
noise of garbage.
You're
also
right.
fair, but I also don't hate those.
I also rage the fact that I don't like that you're right.
I also argue and
I also argue.
And it's just one of those things where it's a subjective
It's-
thing, and I just didn't like this style of just.
okay.
Eh.
Sorry,
Maybe that's because I'm also comparing this to like crazy ass Buck
Yeah.
Wild animation.
to be fair, is not as good as the action in High Card, or in Buddy Daddies, or Tomo, but it is better looking than the action in Beasts of Ars and Fire Hunter to me.
That's because Beast doesn't have any action.
Exactly. I would
Beast
say
action is him running to jump onto a fish and stabbing it.
I would say that that Sugar Apple has better action than it, but Sugar Apple refuses to show any of its action on screen. Which is fine. It doesn't need to.
Because it's actually a romance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We'll
'cause it's a
talk about that
shoujo.
though. I think Reborn's fine.
You know, it's fine.
It's moving a
It,
plot
it is
along.
certainly just generic isekai that
Yes.
I don't hate.
Yeah.
Well, that's oh no, it is. It's not an
It's-
isekai. It's technically a reborn story because it's in the same world.
Yeah, it's just
thousands of years in
a
the future.
reincarnation fantasy story. There's no isekai element yet.
No, she's because the idea is she's in the same world.
Yes,
just
exactly.
thousands of years in the future.
Yeah, just reincarnated.
Yeah. We'll see about if the leader is.
You
this
never,
guy.
you never know if there's just gonna be a random isekai character somewhere. Doggo jump.
Other
Yeah.
doggo is alerted.
I see that. Poking out over there. It's like
Yeah.
a tail or an ear.
That is an ear.
Nice.
I see it.
I now have what looks to be an empty chair next to me.
No.
You know, like in the frame for when you're leaning over, it's just like
Yeah,
empty.
sometimes.
There it goes.
If we don't have thoughts about Reborn,
Put
oh,
that
I
next to
can't
it.
Yeah.
fucking wait to talk about this. Hey, Mason, you and me, buddy, we're gonna have a fun time. Hey,
Oh
John,
boy.
talk about Ice Guy.
I'm gonna be honest, not a lot happened in Nice Guy. They do things. I thought the funny thing was they went to the movies, and they ran into one of their coworkers who went, "Oh shit."
You watched Rice.
They watched the movie.
Here's my argument. This is a funny ass screenshot out of context. In context, this show did nothing. I was like,
Yeah.
neat, they're watching Rice. Why doesn't this hit? This should be funny to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I've watched stuff that does this and it's funny. This bit's always funny. Why isn't it funny?
So
I thought
funny
the race
thing-
bit was funny personally, but
I think maybe the only part that got me was it was 3 hours and how
3
many
hours of
minutes
Rice.
long?
It was a
was-
documentary of the
it
grade
was
of
almost
Rice.
4 hours.
The life cycle of a grade of rice.
it was goaded.
So it's funny to me because I was watching this with John and Amber, and they were really in on it,
I thought it was really cute.
and I was not.
I think the main characters are cute.
Like, I understand that you think they're cute. They don't do anything.
That's fine.
I think that's the point. I didn't dislike this episode. I don't think we need to go over what happens this episode. They
No.
go to the movies.
They go to the
Um,
movie. I
And
think
it's
I think
overtime, and while
They
the
go
other
to the
two are in
movie-
overtime, these 4 are having a fucking
They
double
get-
date night.
I
No,
think
I like
George
the double date night where they're just like, "Yo, they're popping off, they're popping off." And
I-
it's like,
the
board game.
text bit, I'm fucking lost to it of doing the text. The profile picture changes.
I think that's
I thought it
neat.
would have
I
been neat
think
if
that's
they
cute.
connected the dots though.
Yes, exactly. Right. I think
I
it's
think
cute.
they should have explained it. I think it would have been funny if they just went, "Yeah, I changed my profile picture," and then the two of them go, "Hey, they changed profile picture. Wait a second, guys."
Right? No, like
What's happening?
that's far more enjoyable than the odd like like conspiracy, how deep suspension bridge effect. Like I don't really care for the
Suspension
double
bridge
date.
effect.
I don't really care for the wordplay game because I just don't. Here's a point I want to make about the beginning half of this about this show. God, this writing is bland to me. I do not care for this show's writing.
Yeah.
I especially just dislike red hair. I think he's
Yes. Oh my
the
God.
least likable
Yes.
I kind of
character
like
of
Phoenix
these
Boy. Phoenix Boy is having a good time, man. He's trying his best.
But
I
his
don't- I don't-
writing's so bad. Like I just
I
fair.
also feels like we have like 8 minutes of show or something that was like just cut out, so they didn't need to introduce the third female.
it's a
'Cause
shame.
she's just kind of here now.
It's a shame. She looks like the most interesting character of the
Yeah,
batch we've
Like,
gotten.
it feels like she was supposed to have something, and then she's just introduced as the love interest for Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like the George the Kitten bit. I think it's a nice bit.
That was really nice.
I think
George
it's
the
like
Kitten too.
it's a perfectly serviceable romance bit that works. It's like maybe the first one that I'm like, this is nice. It's going. It's cool. It's fine. There's no and then
Sporty
like,
movie.
but like again, I don't really care about the. Yeah, I thought the snow in the theater was nice. This show is very boring to me, and I would rather
okay.
be watching literally any of our other romance shows than this one.
See, I don't disagree with that. I just think there are shows I dislike more because, like, I don't have any major gripes with this show. It's just kind of boring, but it's cute, like 50% of the time. And I'm just bored. I was just bored the entirety of Beasts. I did not want to watch that this week.
See, that's the thing.
See,
Beast fires a neuron. This doesn't.
Does it?
I'm between you
It
two.
does.
I was bored with both.
That's fair.
Right.
Shoot them
Yeah.
both. I'm not shooting
I
one of
was
them.
like particularly interested in this, but like
It's like checkmate. Both of them suck.
checkmate. There's only one good show, and it's Trigun.
But if you hold but if you
Yes.
hold a Trigun to my head, I know which one of these two I want to shoot more.
Yes.
And
Same.
that's
And that's neither of them. It's Fire Hunter.
I didn't say I wasn't going to shoot Fire Hunter either, but we'll see. I'm thinking.
I feel like Fire Hunter at least has something interesting happening.
Sure, I argue
no,
Beast
the
does.
other two do.
John felt about
I
Nier
think-
last week.
I think
This
Beast
does
doesn't.
not
That's
matter.
true.
Yeah.
Very true. I think
We
Beast
know
also
everything.
has something.
See,
Yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
it could possibly. Everything could go. It's crazy. What was there was another. I think there was something else I wanted to say about this episode. I think this was the show I was watching, and I went. My brain went, don't check how long you have left. It's going to end soon. You're probably right. And I moved the mouse anyway, and it was halfway through, and I went, oh no.
This is. I'm sorry to make this call back, Michael, but this is the Aquatope for this season.
That's
for
okay.
me.
This is my Sachiku.
Absolutely.
That's okay. We're going to talk about the Joran in a minute.
I kind of enjoy this, and you guys and other people just don't. Yeah, it's exactly the Aquatone.
Yeah.
I have a disagreement
It's
about.
crazy.
I have a disagreement about that point, by the way, John. If I
No, I don't think it can be the Joran,
no,
but like,
I
wouldn't it be
have
funny?
an argument that this show has so much more. That the next show we're gonna talk about has so much more going on with it. I think it's only gonna get better. But that's.
Oh no, I agree. I'm memeing. But like, you can't not bring it up. Like,
It's really no. It is really funny that a couple of our shows have already ended, and there's another one that I can't wait to talk about of how I actually think we've already gotten the end of that show.
Eh,
I'm worried about that. We're gonna
no,
talk.
I know.
It's doing
We'll
a
get
fucking
to it.
Is there
Do you wanna
any?
haha
Yes.
funny?
what the fuck was
Is
the
there
one show
anything
where it told the
else?
entire story out of order?
Peach Boy.
Peach Boy, but
Yeah,
that's
it's-
different. That's different. Peach Boy saved its ending episode for at least like halfway through it.
It did save its 12 until 12. No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
12's
No,
in the
it didn't.
fucking middle of Peach Boy.
Uh huh. There's like at
Yeah.
least 4 other episodes before after 12. That. Anything else about Ice Guy?
This guy triggers serotonin. That's all I have to say about the show. That's
Does
basically it.
really? That's
and that's okay.
impressive. I
Mm,
wish
that's-
I wish I had your serotonin triggers.
That's
Right.
great. I wish your fantasies didn't trigger melatonin. I get it.
we have a different brain cell, and I'm sorry.
The serotonin, melatonin brain
That's
cell.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
opposite for all you guys. For me, it just
If
or no.
PA works.
Maybe I win.
something.
Um. Hey, Michael, we do have to talk about this episode of this show because John and I both think it's the best episode this week.
It was a good episode.
I don't think
I didn't think the show overall was like
I really
better
liked,
than
I really
other
li-
things
I really
had
liked
been.
this episode. I thought this
But
was great.
this episode was really good. But yeah, the last episode ends. Jonas leaves with the confection. And then we get a breakdown from Anne because she just wants to go back home at this point, or because at this point
Yeah,
she's
true.
failed. She doesn't have that. That was her confection. That was her masterpiece. And she just doesn't want to go to the thing. Also, she in her brain she can't get there on time at this point because the timing thing. So she wouldn't be able to get to Lewiston and also make her thing and blah blah blah. Shao goes and then she goes, "Shao, you can leave." And he goes, "Are you fucking sure? You're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Are you sure?"
Covered in blood goop berries. I don't
Something.
remember
It's
what
blood.
we said. It was
It's
It's
guts.
blood from something. But yeah, then
Wolf
Shao
would not run after that, like if it were berries. So sorry.
and then Shao gives the biggest power move and goes, "You still got to make me my confection, bitch." And she goes, "True, I will do that." And there's a lot of sugar here because Jonas just left all of his in his cart. So she makes him a thing, and he goes, "So this is mine. I could do anything with it." Well, I'm gonna go submit it at Lewiston, and she goes, "Huh?" And then they go to Lewiston.
No, she's like, you're gonna go. He's like, you're gonna go submit it at Lewiston. Let's go, bitch.
You
I got
forgot,
the horse.
you forgot about the part during her mental breakdown that inspires the piece of confection she makes.
She also makes a fairy.
This
well-
part, fucking wild to just do this shit.
Yeah, she just makes a fairy, and the fairy goes, "Okay, but like she seems nice," and he's like, "True,
Leave
she's the exception."
Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
But also Shao going, "She's the exception," and accepting her is a great moment for him. It's
Yes.
great. Yeah, go to Lewiston, blah blah blah. Jonas's confection is really good. Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like he didn't make it.
There's. I'm gonna talk more and finish.
But yeah, blah blah blah. They're the top two because of course they are. 'Cause Anne's just really good,
Both are.
and also putting other characters in. That's too much work.
For
This
now.
show's about Anne and Shao, and Jonas being the worst. Blah blah blah. We're going through some stuff, and they go, "Wow, Anne's is like the best one here, but it's also small, because it's small fairy size, like the size of Mithra. Which, whatever, because yeah, she didn't have a lot of
Hey,
sugar, and she was
hey.
just making this for Shao.
Don't shorten his name.
I don't miss two.
I don't remember the rest of his name. I
Mithril
don't
lid
care.
pod.
Lid pod.
That's crazy.
Anyway. Oh, so we're doing all this, and then they go, okay, so Jonas, they go, okay, but Jonas is bigger, so I guess he can win. And sad. Because, of
Oh.
course, you'd be sad.
And we
Um,
also got the sugar.
Oh, yeah, but there's a second step. You need to be able to
Yep.
refine your own silver sugar. So they go to check that, and they open the first barrel, and it's empty. Minus a single mithril lid pod who has stuffed his entire body like 18 times with all of the silver sugar that was in this barrel.
Well, of course, he just had to go like this.
But he's still
don't
he has a tummy in that
Yes.
scene.
Well, of course, it has
but
to
yeah,
go somewhere.
Thick.
Mithril saves the day, and this leads to a whole thing where Anne reveals that Jonas stole it, and they go, okay, but how do we confirm this? I guess we'll have them both try to imitate the butterflies. And then they're doing this, they're imitating the butterflies. Anne's going, she's popping off, but in her brain she goes, I gotta make this more beautiful, because at this point, through the making of the sugar confection, she has she was allowed to touch Shao's wing, because she thought it was really pretty, blah blah blah. Butterfly wing, fairy wing, very similar things. She's making this, and Jonas is having a mental breakdown because he cannot imitate these wings, because he's bad. He's garbage, garbanzo bean. And then they finish at Anne makes her a butterfly, and the guy goes, see, the thing is that we know Jonas didn't make it, because you can very clearly tell this man's incompetent. But like, if I look at what you made, yours is also clearly not the same thing. these are clearly not made by the same person. And it's such a fucking good moment because this is the one judge is the guy from the stop, at the doctor stop, and the whole idea is that, yeah, this butterfly she made is hers. The one Jonas has was her mother's, and it's a really good moment, and it's great. And now it's off. You gotta wait till next year to become a sugar master because she can't win. That wasn't her piece. Blah blah blah. Then we get, and essentially Shao goes, yeah, so I won't eat this. I can't eat anything not made by a silver sugar master.
Fucking little
Now I'm gonna
bitch.
stick with you until next year, until you can try again.
He's cute.
And-
I love it.
And now we have our romance, maybe something.
Also, Mithril.
Don't
I don't know
forget-
where the show's going from here.
Don't
Traveling.
forget the best part. Don't forget the best part of this entire episode, where they go, "Yeah, Jonas needs to be punished."
She
Um,
slaps the shit.
what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Well, I mean, he fucked you over, so like you get to
You
choose
first
his punishment.
crack,
And she
yeah.
goes, "Oh, okay."
The only action we needed from this show.
As she should.
Going
Yes.
full Marge Simpson, like way behind the back slap was wonderful. I needed that in my life.
Also, Shell calls her by her name. She doesn't call her Scarecrow for a singular line, and then goes back to it because fuck her. No, they just travel, right? You just see more of the world. That's what this is, right? Like you take advantage of the fact that you have a very pretty art style and a very interesting world dynamic with fairy and confection and travel. I think that's
Yeah.
I hope so.
The whole idea is that the
You gotta
hook
kill
of
a
the
year.
story up to now was the Silver Sugar Master
Yeah.
stuff.
now.
And like we know she's good enough. The thing is that she's good enough to do it, so it doesn't feel like we need to get through to like a
Now-
training arc at this point.
Now you kill a year and actually have the contestant she's against feel threatening, like a Food Wars thing.
True.
Make
Maybe.
it so that the next time she goes in, she has actual competition.
Jonas learns how to actually cook instead of being a douche.
No, I think next time we see him, he's going to be a horrible fucking mess of a human being. Holy shit.
He already is.
He already is. His fucking breakdown's
even worse.
wonderful.
Yes.
Shouts to this show. Holy shit, those sugar confections look nice. Oh my
Mhm.
god. So the fairy, incredible. The wing's insane. But the fairy's incredible as is. Man, I've never has a failure felt so horrible, but such the
It's so
right
vindicating.
thematic call, right? Like you're like, yeah, this sucks. Oh, this feeling's so terrible, and I'm so happy you've given me it.
It's very bittersweet, but it's
What 3 wonderful pieces of sugar you presented us. You made all of them. Only that one can we prove is yours.
Yeah.
Can't fight. Also, never has a show screened shoujo more in my face than this show does.
that's what I said too. Like this is just shoujo, but it make me smile so much.
They do the shot where he fucking takes her
Yep.
fingers. I'm like, oh my god, that's the shoujo shot.
The
I'm so
shoujo thing.
surprised they don't have Shao wearing a hat of some type, because he's missing like one of the 5 elements of the Tumblr sexy man,
Correct.
which is the top hat.
Yes.
But
Quick
I think that
question I
wouldn't fit
do
his
have.
character at all. But like Tumblr sexy man.
Quick question I do have. For some reason, he still doesn't have his other wing on by the end of this episode. And I'm wondering.
I think the idea is that
why.
you can't reconnect them.
It just means he has
chose not
control of
to.
it now.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's more like
idea
a-
is that no
No,
one
'cause-
owns his heart. Because like they can't
Mhm.
reconnect it. It got cut off.
No, because Mithril has his other wing on
Is it
him.
on?
Mr. got his back and put it
Yes.
back on.
Yeah,
No one
oh,
ever put
I
her
thought, I
back
thought he
on.
just was holding his
Huh.
other one. I didn't think he had it
No,
back on.
he had it back on.
I didn't think about that.
So that's a
Mithril's
weird
scarf,
bit.
isn't it? Yeah.
Mithril's wing is.
Yeah, he wears his wing as a scarf, but he uses it. He can put it back on anytime.
For me, it felt like they couldn't. Like the idea is that they can't put it back on because they were sliced off or whatever by humans. But that may just be
Have
a
we-
misunderstanding of the show stuff.
I'll trust you, but we'll have to double check this for next week if Mithril's actually had the other wing back on ever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he has it as the
Yeah,
scarf.
he does wear it.
Yeah. I'm
I don't
pretty
think
sure
he's ever
he puts
used it and flown with it.
I'm almost positive when he flies away, like during the night scene, he puts it back on to fly away.
I think Mason's right, but I can't confirm it.
Not
I'm
right
like
now.
85% sure.
We'll double check it. No, I think this was an incredible episode of this show. I really like Trigun's episode. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, it's insane. This is one of those ones where it's like, no, this feels like you've earned a top spot to me.
It's not like peak
I'll
shoujo. Period.
Yeah.
Like,
No, like this was really good. I'm excited to see what it does. I hope it doesn't lose me in the direction it decides to take the show. Because it could very well do that. But I think the setting and the art style is engaging enough that I can see this going for a while.
I hope so. It was good. Good time.
Okay, time for me to learn whatever the fuck you guys have been
Okay,
talking
so
about.
spy
but
classroom.
also talk about this episode first. There are things we have to discuss.
So the reason I'm just gonna get right into it.
Okay.
The reason why Michael and I are like, yeah, what the fuck, guys? So the reason on that is, so we start off the episode where we go back to like 3
We
weeks
go back in
before-
time to the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we go back to before the impossible mission happens, and there's like a talk with Lily and Klaus, and then it's not really specified if we move past the impossible mission or if we're still back in time. But they are talking in the mansion with Erna right there about her powers.
Yeah, they say her power
Mhm.
and name her,
Mhm.
Yes.
which were two specific rules they were not allowed to break.
Mhm.
Be
Yeah.
naming the 8th and saying any power.
Correct.
That
don't
is a major plot hole.
But we do know if that's during the impossible mission or if that's like in between impossible mission and this current mission.
Here's the
Right.
problem.
The idea that we have no reason to think this was after the Impossible Mission, because this whole episode, even after this point, takes place before Impossible Mission. Because this is all them still trying to take down Teach.
Yeah.
And it's very clear the group hasn't come to trust Lily as a leader yet. That's a very
Yes.
important gag they're still running, is that,
Yeah,
like,
In
Yeah.
3, they very clearly go, she's the leader.
I think it would be
And that's-
very weird if this was... If this... It is by far also my biggest problem with this show, is that it's chosen to do this.
Like, I'm fine with them doing it when they're outside of the mansion. I think
Yes.
that makes sense. That's totally fine. Cool. Awesome. We can showcase Erna's powers right there. That works. It's when they're in the mansion that bothers me so
Yeah, they're just
much.
in the foyer, and just out loud, the one goes, yeah, she was at my academy. She's really unlucky and can detect bad luck.
Yeah.
Also, her name's Erna. And I'm like, huh? What?
I think
Yeah.
maybe there is a small bit where, like, contextually, even if recorded, you wouldn't be able to piece that they're talking about one of them, but I don't think so, given how that scene is.
Yeah, very.
Because that was the only thing I could think of upon watching this episode was, okay, now you have to... Like, the first thing that went into my head when I saw that we were going backwards was me going, now you have to be really fucking careful, show, because you've set up an entire plot point about what you cannot do. So...
Right back, guys.
And then they immediately do it.
So here's, like, the big worry, right? Do we know how many episodes this show is?
Like 12.
I would assume it's going to be 12. And
I'm-
we do know, based off of episode names, because the 6 are out and we've only watched 4 of them, the next 2 are also the case something.
Yep. I mean, so here's my argument, right? My worry is we've gotten the end of the show, minus the fact there will probably be a case for him, and that'll actually close out the show. You end on him, where, like, we learn whatever thing they're trying to...
There are 8 members.
Yeah?
You got through episode 11 by going member by member. And then 12th is him.
Because we spent 3 with Lily.
You have the 3. You have the 3 of the whole group. Then you gotta have everyone. If you have everyone, you end with like Lily as 11, and then do him as 12.
I hope it doesn't do that. I really
That
hope
certainly
it
is a thing
doesn't.
they could do.
Hey Mason,
Goron,
thanks
here we
for
go.
Mason. Thanks for pointing it out. We no, we didn't have an OP the first 3 episodes. None of us mentioned it.
I do really like that they did that. That's actually really cool.
It's
I will say that.
it's an odd feeling, right? Because on one hand, there are shows that change their OP for something like this, and this show, and I get it. This isn't that high production of a show. Like, it makes more sense just not to air it. And it is neat in that regard that you can't air it because it spoils the twist at episode 3. I don't know. It's because I was talking with a friend about it. I was watching this in call with other people, and I was like, yeah, it was pointed out to me this is the first time we've gotten the OP in 4 episodes, and they went, why? And I went, because it spoils a major thing in episode 3, and they went, couldn't they just hide that in the opening, like change the opening slightly or like blur it or something? And it's like, yeah, weird question. They chose not to because thematically they're really playing with the 8 of them in the opening.
I mean, to be fair, Akira Maid War tried to blur them out, and we were all just like, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like, this is a really dumb idea.
Yeah.
But like, there are like, I'm thinking of the erased opening, obviously, but not everything can be erased.
I mean, so I will say too, I think it's fine because of the fact that the first 3 episodes do just kind of like they go kind of packed.
Yeah.
They're packed and they need to use the full 22 minutes. I'm fine with that. And now we're kind of slowing down a bit. So I'm cool with them doing it. I think it's neat. I'm just worried about the show itself.
Okay, also, let's talk about the episode. We follow Erna the whole time. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We see them convert her plan into your plan. I think you mean our plan.
Our plan.
Comrade.
Neat. I like it. It's interesting. Can't you just say he got out of the chains? Do you have to make it that?
Okay.
He wasn't able to just break out of that.
I
He
know.
had to do
It's
something
really
special.
funny. He
had to
good
drop
bit.
the one guard.
Need to be a game.
I like
I'm
him,
fine
so
with it,
I'm fine with
honestly.
it. But it's like, really.
They have the bit that got me that I
bullets.
was fucking cackling about was the bit with the car where he jumps like a full block away. I was dying at that.
Well, like
But I'm also just
You
like,
could have gotten hurt.
I saw the car come by, and I'm like, he's just gonna dodge it. Why do you think this is gonna do anything to him? And then my favorite is when he's running, when he's talking to her, and she's like, and she's like, I'm a horrible person. No one needs me. All the bad things happen. He's like, think about it. If you weren't with me, someone could have got hit by that car. That curry could have fallen on someone.
Yeah, someone else could have been hit by the boiling stew.
It's just the funniest line.
That woman could have died from those random bricks that fell.
Shit. I think it's even more bizarre though that the twist on the twist is that they were behind all of the incidents trying to get back at her, and it's like, buddy, how did you live? An entire random 2 sets of roofs and balconies collapsed on you. How did you and your one woman walk out alive? Also, they look like JoJo characters. These bad guys walk into the alley and are like, hey, little girl, we're here to mug you. And she goes, neat, follow me to this wall. And they go, weird, but okay. And then she self-monologues at them and they go, even weirder.
Weird flex, but okay.
The show is bad.
It's trash, but like it leans kind of into being trash.
Every episode's gonna be a dating sim route. I'm so excited. Because that's the bit.
That like everything was a setup the whole time. I just thought that was neat.
Yes,
there was like I think it's a little weird. There's like really no good way to catch like all of it beforehand. That like they hired these guys to kidnap them. It's a little.
Well, yeah, you don't.
Like, impossible.
You don't get
catch,
to see the rest of the team for most of the episode, and it's the fact that this episode's told from Erna's point of view, so everything catches you off guard because she doesn't know anything about it. Let's try to run through this. Animal tamer, poisoner, crow, bad luck.
Bad luck.
Disguise.
Why is his name spelled with a Q?
sexy woman is her power set.
Lust.
Gun,
Bombs.
gun, gun,
Gun?
bombs. Have
Yeah.
we seen the other two?
There'd only be one
Um,
more at that point.
Yeah, there's only one more. It's
You have 7 fingers up, Sean.
Yes, one
there
more.
are 8
one
members
more.
in Lamplight.
Yes, ignore that.
Or 8 members other than him.
Yeah. So
It's-
what's our last
And I think
locks?
so.
Is guns
disguise.
locks? I
They're
got
disguise.
disguise.
No,
I got
we just-
disguise.
The
Okay.
issue is that I also can't tell who's supposed to be who in this set because Gun is that the one that's just good at everything?
Yeah, she's
Because
like
there's
the
one who's
she's
who's
the
called like Hack or something, and she's just good at everything. She's just kind of she's like
Yeah,
lazy, and
she-
that's her flaw.
yeah, she's the one who gets flack about the locks not being on, right? But she's also the one who does a lot of bullet shooting in that episode. Bombs, pink hair.
yes.
Yeah, she's a pirate.
Yes.
Poison's the main girl.
Poison's Lily.
She's a pirate.
We
I
don't.
love
Animal
Marnie.
handling
She's my
is
favorite
hat.
YouTuber.
Yeah, hat.
Because she hides the dog under her hat, which is fucking incredible. I'm sorry, that's great.
And she has Mr. Bernard, her eagle.
Yeah.
And then bad luck, we know. Long blue hair is sexy. And then we have 2 more. Disguise
who
is
would
the pink hair. No, red hair is
Yeah,
disguise.
It's like reddish pink because
Who's the other? It's the character who looks like Lily. What the fuck does she do? Do we know? Because this is the other girl who looks almost exactly like Lily. They're so indistinguishable from each other for me.
Hold on, I'll pull it up so that we can go over this. So yeah, there's Lily who's poison. There's Erna who's bad luck. There's Monica who's the gun shooting. Thea who's sexy time. There's Annette who is bombs. There's Greta who is disguise. There's Sarah who is who's animal handling, and there's Sibylla who I don't remember what she does.
Yeah, Sibylla, I think we just have nothing for yet.
Yeah, we have not really done anything with
I
I'm
don't
trying to
think-
think what she did in the first.
Sibylla
3
is
episodes.
going to get an episode.
I'm trying to think. We'll see if we get there.
But she is episode 6. 5 is not a character episode.
Okay.
You say that.
It's called Lamplight Days. So 6 is called Pandemonium Sibylla. So that's very clearly the Sibylla episode.
Yeah.
So Pandemonium makes it sound like it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what she is. She the intel gatherer?
Yes.
No.
That's
No, I could have sworn that was what Monica was, because Monica's the one that does the shit with the mirror
Oh,
during the Apostle mission. That's Monica.
yeah, you're right. Sibylla's the one who's.
Like, I actually can't think of a single
don't know
fucking thing
what she
Sibylla
does.
has done.
Anyway,
Her nickname's Pandemonium.
No, yeah, Monica's the one with
Yeah,
the gun, though. Monica's the gun,
Yeah,
the mirror,
but she-
and oh my god, she does so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, because her title's Glint.
Yeah. Oh my god, what's?
Mal has all of the character titles. That's really
Oh, I didn't see that.
Thea, the sexy time, I believe, is the Dream Speaker.
Okay.
Annette's is Forgetter, but she's
I
bombs.
I do see that now.
Where do you see?
You have
the-
to
If you
click
go
on
into
it.
their thing, it says their name, and then in quotes,
There's no
is their
bios for
nickname.
any of them, so you're fine. Yeah, so it's Lily, Flower Garden,
You have
Oh.
Monomusume, Daughter Dearest is the disguise.
the Fool, or Fool.
And Sarah the Beast Tamer is Meadow. So these mean nothing, actually.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Glint's the only one that actually kind of means something for the character, because we see her do stuff with mirrors.
Okay, okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, I don't dislike this episode, but I don't like the idea that we're spending time back, right? Like, that really
Yeah.
bothers me and really kills it for me. Is it's like, okay, cool, we've set up this big thing, like, you've come together as a team, you could have developed these characters and their powers in cool, new, like, other standalone mission plot lines, and instead it's, no, now we have to go back and fill in the gap of time, which in some ways I'm like, that's fine, but
Yeah,
oh,
I think this might also be just a one-off thing.
I hope
just because
so.
just because Erna was a character we dead zero time within our previous three
Yeah.
episodes. Like,
I
she specifically needed this.
I will say, I feel like with them, like, with how they ended up doing this, there was no real other way for them to do the twist without putting it at episode 3. 'Cause
Yes.
Otherwise, it would have felt like
yeah, it
like
wouldn't.
it wouldn't have felt earned.
No. The other but like the thing for me is that this episode felt so formulaic to Lily's episode that my brain's like, I think every episode's gonna be set before the mission. Because otherwise they have to completely otherwise they have to completely set up like a whole new. Is he playing with a pillow?
Yes, that is her bed. It's a
She,
pillow.
okay.
That
The other one
And she's
just took
moving
your
it.
bed.
yeah.
Adorable. Truly. I'm gonna go grab or let me go. I have to get the thing.
I forget that Studio Peel has a very wide, odd range of things.
Correct.
Like most of it's romance, but also you have like Origairu next to Kiss X6 next to this.
Yeah.
And then
Next to-
Hinamatsuri.
God,
also
Hinamatsuri is
Tagashi.
so good. But that's besides the point.
It's like aggregates. It's like, yeah, this is all romance, and then also Hinamatsuri's there.
I don't remember. Is Dagashi romance as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
It's not.
technically,
It's like romance in the same way Call of the Knight's romance, where it's
horny.
like there's a lot of horny, but it's not like all about them like trying to get together. But
mean, it
purple hair
definitely-
girl definitely there's some horniness between her and the main boy.
I mean,
Guys,
to
I
be
forgot-
fair,
Guys, I forgot an
Tagashi
important note when we were
Kashi
talking
also-
about when we were talking about Buddy Daddies earlier. Because I was looking through my notes again. My first note in that show just says, "Yes, give her the detergent. This will end well."
Correct. It ended well. Extra clean. Yeah, it's wild because like one of the romance, like a few of the romances they've done are like super highly acclaimed romance things, like Origairu and
Origairu.
Tsukigaki Day are very highly acclaimed, and then they did Kiss Sis.
They also did
Really
Remake Our
incredible, though.
Life, which is
I'm in an odd.
Something.
I'll be honest. I'm in an odd spot with voting. Because I walked in this week going, I want to vote a bunch of stuff, and now I'm sitting here and I'm like, but I think there is a particular outcome that I really think is deserved, and if I vote everything, it might not happen. It's very likely
made
it
my
won't
votes.
happen.
I pulled a Dylan this week. Not quite all the
see-
way.
I see
Dylan
my
had,
name.
Do that. That would
Dylan
be
did a
funny.
thing where he would have one show he likes and just vote Slay on literally everything else.
Correct.
And I respect that because you know what? Fair enough.
Okay, I
Did
made
it have any effect
I
on the
made-
actual outcomes? Probably not.
I made my call.
Mhm.
I took the in between route.
I understand. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em once you. It's you and me.
See, I could
No,
also
it's
deal
our
in it.
destiny. I watched Detective Pikachu, by the way, yesterday
He's good.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
or 2 days ago. Now,
Michael and I will never stop
good.
praising that movie for
funny.
the Torterra scene.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Torterra scene is
sick.
fucking
The raddest
great.
fucking scene in cinema. Pretty long.
That and
For sure.
also the Mr. Mime scene is incredible.
Did you not see Pomu's date with Alira? Oh god.
did she just like cut into black and then she just has a Leroy gone?
Okay, Michael, I'm just waiting on you.
Pomu's one with Alira.
I know because submission names.
I also I'm looking at it as well. I like your name, Sean.
Thank you. There should really be a comma after the fuck, but
Wait, how
Yeah,
how do you
whatever.
getting the names? What?
So if you look at see other responses,
okay. Well, this was what I was.
Oh,
Well, this was what I
boy.
was worried about. Oh, Oh,
Oh boy.
I'm so
I closed out it so I
holy.
can't go to
I'm
sleep.
so happy I didn't make this call. Holy shit. Okay. You're all gonna know exactly what I didn't do when I read this out. Tomo-chan, full saves. High card, full saves. Angel, full saves. Buddy Daddies, Trigun, full
We'll
saves.
say an angel's shocking. I'll be honest.
It's
Oh, we
fine.
all
It doesn't
enjoy it.
need to go. Sugar Apple, full saves. Fire Hunter, 2 slays. There, you know what I didn't do.
That's a shame.
Thank you,
Honestly, that's a
Sean.
shame.
Unfortunately, it might not have been enough. Reborn, 2 slays. Jesus Christ, guys. Giant Beasts of Ars, Ice Guy and Spy Classroom, 3 slays.
I'm here for it. I'm in.
I got this.
I don't mind if Spy Classroom goes. I was worried about Fire.
Maybe
I'm honestly fine
Pizza
even
got to
if
see
Ice
my
Guy goes.
submission name.
Genocide route.
I really, really, really should have. Hold on, don't set it up.
I was originally only gonna vote ours and Fire Hunter, and then went, nah, fuck it, I'm voting all 5.
I was originally going to
It'd be funnier that way.
I was originally going to vote Fire Hunters, but I was going to vote my bottom 3 was what I was going to do. And I'm like, I want Ice Guy to go. I don't want to put Fire Hunter on a wheel with it. And then, Jesus Christ, guys, I did not think we would get... I said, I can vote Spy Classroom. It might not go. And then, Jesus Christ, gang. Maybe I should have fucking voted Fire Hunter just to have it be fucking... This is more
Assassin's
fun.
my classroom.
This is more fun because now it's not 2. Now it's not 2 of Masons. It's only 1.
I appreciate that.
That's right, baby. I dodged a
We got
bullet
one more
somehow.
line.
Okay, so how are we doing with 3? We've never had 3 in a minute.
What it lands on goes.
Just one
Yeah.
spin.
Yeah,
You know,
One
the
spin.
arrow is the
Alright, you
knife.
guys ready?
Yep.
3 to 1 go.
that's how it's always been.
I'm honestly okay with any outcome here.
I have a pref.
Oh.
I have a oh no.
No, my preference was Ice Guy going.
Yes,
I very
mine
much
also.
think that's the right call, but this is upsetting to me.
Guys, we only have one show left that's not on Crunchyroll now. We just gotta get rid of Spy Class.
True.
You know,
Next week.
that's the real reason I'm voting time.
Look, I'm fine with that, honestly.
I'm gonna personally keep watching Giant Beasts because I have brain rot.
Yo,
I
I
might
didn't
watch
Dylan
like
this season.
another
Let's
episode.
go. Dude, there was a small part of me that was like, am I gonna Dylan this season?
Sorry, I just
What's-
I
No,
Sorry,
then
I
see,
went-
you couldn't
I
do
was
it
I
because
went-
you were
Oh, no.
actually like high on it.
I went back to the Tomo-chan screenshot and it stabbed me. It might be my fault. It's just so good.
You know what's really funny is that it's impossible for me to get screenshots for Tomo because I don't have subtitles. Then half of
Correct.
your screenshots, half of the screenshots we get are because of the subtitles.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
why don't you
almost
subtitles?
always. He watches it dubbed.
Oh.
Yeah, it releases completely simultaneously dubbed, and I watched the dub by accident first, and I'm just
Now he's
sticking
committed.
with it because it's a good dub.
Hey, Michael. This is a side thing. Sorry, I'm putting everyone on the podcast into hearing this. Ghost Game's gonna end at like 68, 70 episodes.
Neat.
That was
Don't
the
you guys not have any plot, really?
There was always like it's like
It-
sprinkled there.
that means they're
Tulis
going.
Gamamon as a concept is the plot.
This means Michael and I know they're going to pull the plot. They're going to pull the plot device, and then we're gonna be in it for like the last 10 episodes. Is what it means. And the reason I know this is because we have confirmation on what's coming after it. I'll have to find it.
Oh shit, we got another Digimon.
Yeah, let me see. I'll have to.
Also, Sean, talking about Digimon, I purchased a video game. I haven't gotten to playing it yet, but I do own Cyber Sleuth.
My hot take is Cyber Sleuth is not an amazing game. It does, however, fire all of the chemicals in my brain that a collectathon that like that like Pokemon does for people when I went, oh, you have a bestiary of every single Digimon? I will do that. I will completely fill that. I will make that work. And also my brain goes, God, the English translation for this is not great, but boy does this game fucking rule. Some of the shit it pulls is hysterical. But there are parts of that game where the translation is literally broken, unfortunately. They just it was not high profile enough to successfully get proper anything.
It's
I forgot to mention it earlier, but I bought Disco Elysium as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, to be honest.
Here's something that I think. Here was my first thought about that game. I did not really care for your main character because on blank slate, kind of a horrible human being.
Yeah.
I started playing the game. I started playing I tuned into something that I was like, oh, the game kind of feels like it's making this an option for me to like take the character in, and I really liked that option, and I started playing that way, and I really enjoyed the outcome I got on my playthrough.
I'm not very far into it. I've only played like 2-3 hours of it. So I'm just like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have to ask, what's your height? What stat did you go?
I went with the psychic, like the you can talk to the beyond.
Okay.
guy.
That's not the one that gives you tons. Is that the one that gives you tons of lore or no?
I don't know, to be honest.
When you interact with things, do you immediately get the encyclopedia skill popping up constantly?
No.
Okay,
I get the inland. I get Inland Empire.
You do the Inland Empire. That's what I thought it was when you said that. No, I didn't. I did the one that gave me the encyclopedia. Holy shit, does that turn on lore mode for the world?
God, I wish I had gotten that because so much of the world does not make any fucking sense.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Overloaded.
I'm not gonna say it's gonna make more sense, but hey guys, a new anime project for the Licorice Recoil anime series has been announced.
Ooh, neat.
It's called Licorice Recoil Cafe. Licorice at the Licorice Recoil Cafe presents After Party is where they announced it. We don't know what it is though.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, I got a fun email the other day, guys.
Oh yeah.
That I completely forgot about. Because I was like, oh, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming out. I should probably get to pre-ordering it. And then I got an email that went, your collector's edition will charge you in like 2 days. And I'm like, I bought the collector's edition? Good job, me! Which comes with like a whole like art book and everything. It comes with like a CD with extended tracks, and it has like 8 miniature busts, like 6-inch busts of every single of the main characters.
Hell yeah.
I think that's sick.
Hey guys,
I'm
just gonna run down a couple of real quick anime manga newses that I'm staring at trying to find the Digimon news. Given its manga's gonna end in March, that manga wasn't done yet? Holy shit! Michael,
It's just a lot of gay.
that means there's a lot of stuff after where the anime is they must do, which is I
the
know
movie
there's a
doesn't
movie.
get like super far past that point
I
either.
don't know because I haven't seen the movie.
I can keep you want to see what's going on in there.
I'm trying to find the other one. Bastards getting its
Yeah,
second
Niall.
season?
I'm not surprised.
How long has it been since the first one came out? I feel like
What?
that's
Okay, so
Isn't Saint second season
Original-
next season?
yes. Original Bastard
That's hype.
came out in like the late 80s, early 90s.
and they did the
New-
OVA remake.
New Bastard came out, I want to say last year, because
Okay.
it was a choice on the podcast, and I almost picked it.
No,
Okay.
I forgot.
And I want to say I want to get us to watch that because holy shit, that show is insane.
Kubo ends in 3 chapters.
Watch the show.
Damn, that means it just got announced for like. I wonder if that's an end or it's dropped off in popularity, so they need to cut it at this point.
Shikamori is concluding with its 20th volume.
It got 20 volumes.
People liked it, not me, but people
No.
liked it.
I
We
mean, to be
are,
fair, I heard the anime was not a good adaptation.
we are getting an anime for Helk.
I don't know what that is.
Apparently, there are people who are very excited about this.
Last season of
Oh, Gretzko. That's lewd.
And a bunch of stuff that's not on our podcast, thankfully, is getting postponed. Not that it would matter because we are behind enough that honestly it could.
see that.
Cute, look at the promo.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna make it.
that'll be that.
It's adorable.
I say that's where we are for
Yeah,
now.
it's
We'll be
vanilla
back
unusual.
sometime next week. We're gonna work it out. We might be. I don't know if John can just do Wednesdays nights or no. If that was just a thing this week.
That was no. Usually it's Monday nights I'm free, but I'll be visiting Mason on Monday this week, but I'm free on the weekend
Yes.
if you guys are
Yeah.
alive.
So again, my problem is I get home from work at like 10:30. So
I mean, to be fair, like
I don't sleep
If-
until 7.
if you're okay with doing it, as long as it's on like Thursday or Friday, I can do whenever.
I could definitely do like a late Friday night. The thing is, I can't do Thursday right now because it's been D&D night.
Oh wait, I actually can do Wednesday next week because I don't work now because I switched with somebody.
That would be great for now.
Yeah.
What I'll say is,
bar
I
night,
am
right?
fine doing late.
I lied.
on
I
nights.
lied again. I lied again. I cannot do Wednesday. I've been informed by my my manager.
Give your manager a huge thank because what was about to happen was I was about to slate us for Wednesday and we were about to get the fucking Tuesday and I would have said we're good for tomorrow, right? And John would have gone, no, and I would have been really mad. So
I'll
thank
podcast
you.
in the bar.
Here's how you know that I am good to stream late. I recently did a D&D podcast stream. That went till that we didn't wind up starting till like midnight, and we went till like 2:30 in the morning. It's a 3-hour first episode of a D&D podcast where me, Dylan, and Jake, who goes by Painless Online, talked for 3 hours about world building as DMs. That is on my other YouTube channel, which is, I mean, it'll be linked in the description of this eventually, and it'll be shared around other times. It's also streamed on my Twitch, which is just Deadly X Wolf 19. I haven't changed it yet, I don't think.
Let's go.
And if I did, I am going to change the name soon because I'm rebranding that whole kind of thing.
You're pulling a me.
Yeah. The podcast is called DM's Night. We had a really good time about that. And we were hoping to do more. But that was a lot of fun. So, go check that out and stay tuned for next week where we talk about more anime.
See ya.